Today's Miami Hurricanes football game is being brought to you by Coors Extra Gold. When you're thirsty for real beer flavor, set your sights on the gold.
And just another day at the office for the Hurricanes, who come steaming into the Orange Bowl with a record of 3-0 and a home winning streak of 52 consecutive. Nobody's beaten them here since the season opener back in 1985. Miami Hurricanes have been dominant in their own ballpark. And this afternoon's meeting with Georgia Southern, the fourth all-time between these squads. They haven't met, though, since the October afternoon in 1937. Just a moment ago, the captains met at midfield. Miami won the toss. They deferred and will get the ball to start the second half, but they will kick it away to begin the first. And just moments ago, when the captains did meet, Miami, again, shaking hands and acting like perfect gentlemen.
It's a good sign, good sign. Well, that's what young men should be all about in college football. It's all just having a good time on Saturday.
We're just about set for kickoff here at the Orange Bowl. Weekend number 4 for the 93 Miami Hurricanes. Scott Barnwell, the senior from Hollywood, Florida, kicking it to Georgia Southern's Chris Wright, 3 deep in the end zone, touchback. And it'll be 1st and 10 at the 20 for the Eagles of Georgia Southern.
Eagles ball on their 20-yard line.
Georgia Southern coming off a huge win at home last weekend, 45-0. They blanked Tennessee Chattanooga. So we will get our first look at this Georgia Southern offensive group. We have a split crew today, the Big East and the Southern Conference. Our referee is Al Hines.
I think we're going to get a re-kick here, Eric. They're bringing the kicking team back on.
So again, Barnwell will tee it up. Chris Wright will drop back as the solo kick returner. And Barnwell has really been a weapon for Miami. 6 of his last 9 kickoffs have either gone through the end zone or have been a touchback. There's Tim Stowers, got the head coaching job at Georgia Southern 4 years ago at the age of 31. And like Dennis Erickson, won a national championship in his first year at Georgia Southern. There is Dennis Erickson. He got his first coaching job when he was only 33 years old. Today he looks for his 48th win as the coach of the Hurricanes. He is 47-4. And there is Scott Barnwell, the 5th-year senior out of Hollywood, Florida. Chris Wright, a junior from Valdosta, Georgia. And we're underway again. And again, Wright backing up, this time 7 yards deep into the end zone. So the Georgia transfer, Joe Dupree, and his Georgia Southern option offense take the Orange Bowl turf first. There is Dupree, a junior out of Macon, Georgia. As you can see, throwing the football, not his forte, just 35%, but he is very tricky with the football running that option.
He's a magician with that option, and he's the guy that really makes that offense go. And, you know, we get a good look at it as they come out and said that Joe Dupree is the guy on the bubble today.
Lone setback, the fullback, James Williams, but here's the pitch to Chris Wright. Good block. And he gets 9 yards to the 29-yard line. Brought down by Twan Russell, freshman outside linebacker, starting for the injured Corwin Francis today. So a 9-yard pickup on first down. James Williams, the leading ball carrier at fullback. Wright and Fraley both very quick. And Dexter Dawson, 2 touchdowns last week. He's their big play threat. Ayub at left guard has started 41 in a row. Dupree goes down in the backfield. Nice stop by Rohan Marley, the sophomore outside linebacker. Marley darting in, and they'll lose a few. 2-yard loss will bring up a 3rd down and 3. Rohan Marley last week in the mile-high altitude of Boulder played all 85 snaps on defense. Dwayne Johnson today at right tackle for the injured Warren Sapp. Russell and Lewis, both freshmen, stepping in because of injuries. And Dexter Siegler, one of the best cornerbacks in America, he's already picked off 3 footballs. First 3rd down for Georgia Southern, 3rd and 3. Dupree gonna keep it. Good block, first down. Joe Dupree reads his blockers well. Got a great block, picked up 11, and Georgia Southern moves the chains.
They're doing a good job. They're showing a formation that usually you see down around the goal line, but they were using a tight end. They came out, instead of going with the 2 wides and the 2 slot backs, they're going tight end and 2 slot backs. And here you see he's coming out on the option. He's got plenty of blockers out front, and there's no one there to take him. As you see, Joe Dupree comes around, and Dexter Dawson out front trying to get a block.
Excellent block by Shafton Fraley, number 12. He rolled right over Ray Lewis. Just underway, 1st and 10 for Georgia Southern, their own 38-yard line. Dupree has it, keeps it, and goes down. Darren Cryan stopped him at the line of scrimmage with an assist from Ray Lewis. Joe Dupree is an interesting story. Nat, how about your keys to winning for Georgia Southern?
Well, the big thing is that they've got to execute. They got to stay away from the turnovers. Any team that runs an option usually puts the ball on the ground, and more so than anything else, they've got to come after that University of Miami football team on defense.
There's Tim Stowers, longtime assistant to the founding father of football at Georgia Southern, Irk Russell. Dupree going to throw on 2nd and 9. And misses Chris Wright. Covered well by the strong safety Carl Richardson. Joe Dupree, starting quarterback for Georgia Southern, was named the starter just a few days after the spring game last spring. Beat out 2-year starter Charles Bostic.
Here you see one of the wrinkles here, Eric, where he comes out on the option. It's the option pass, but the reason that he has such a low efficiency is because he never gets a chance to set his feet. That's the only thing about being an option quarterback, is that when you're trying to throw the football, you don't really have good fundamentals.
Dupree would rather run it than throw it. Has 2 touchdowns throwing, 2 touchdowns rushing. This is 3rd and 9. Plenty of time for Dupree. Nearly picked off. Excellent close by Dexter Siegler. Now you see why he's nicknamed ABC, America's best cornerback. He broke it up, intended for Dexter Dawson.
Well, I don't know if he's America's best, but he's one of them. And, you know, there you saw him just set on that out route and did good job. But once the ball is in the air, breaking on the football, and came close to coming up with another pick.
Well, that Georgia Southern picks up 1 first down, but they'll punt it here on 4th and 9. Here's Jonathan Harris, the junior from Houston. The Georgia Southern punter, Bill Thatcher, did a good job to just get it away. On 1 bounce, not much room for Jonathan Harris. Stopped at the 24, just shy of the 25-yard line. 38-yard punt, 3-yard return. No score at the Orange Bowl between the Hurricanes and the Eagles of Georgia Southern. On offense, he is the junior quarterback from Philadelphia, completing 55% of his throws so far. 2 touchdowns at Colorado, and he really spread it around well. Nat Moore threw to 9 different receivers in the 35-29 win at Colorado.
That's how you keep an offense happy. You know, everybody gets their shot at catching the football and being a part of the win, and that's what he's done a good job. You know, quarterback that's this young, he's only in his 3rd start as a junior this year, so he's got a lot of work to do, but I tell you what, he's the guy that can lead him to that victory. This team reminds me a lot of the 1986 team, where they've got balanced running with those 2 big backs, as well as a quarterback that can get the ball down the field, and a great offensive line, as you see the offensive line here.
Donnell Bennett, who had 124 yards rushing at Colorado last week, gets it on 1st and 10. And Bennett straight ahead to the 30-yard line. Met by Alton Hitson, the safety, and Nick Davis, the strong side linebacker. Alex Mash, the standout, 5.5 sacks already. Middle linebacker Paul Carroll is their leading tackler. And in the secondary, Rob Stockton, very heady player. No question, the linebackers, the strength of Georgia Southern's defense. Pick up a 5 on 1st down. And there is Alex Mash, who goes 6'2", 264 pounds. He's a senior. On 2nd and 5, Larry Jones takes his turn, lost the football. Had the first down, lost the football. Georgia Southern has recovered. So the Hurricanes turn it over on their first possession. 11:49 to play, 1st quarter. And the folks from Statesboro, Georgia, with something to cheer about.
Well, they've got to be happy here. This is an unforced error where Larry Jones come through. They're running an option, or as you look at your screen, you'll see Larry Jones where they fake one way and it comes back on the backside, and he just runs through there, and the ball hits on his own hip and comes out. There's an unforced error, and Georgia Southern gets a big break and an opportunity to capitalize on good field position.
Darius Dawson, the senior linebacker from Moultrie, Georgia, picked up the fumble. And that's 1st and 10 for Georgia Southern. Early moments, first quarter, they have it at the Miami 37. Hit back option. And well overthrown. Chris Wright aiming it down the right sideline for Dexter Dawson. Not even close.
Not even close, but Eric, the one thing that you saw from the Hurricane defense where they're expecting these kind of things, Terrace Harris was rolling over, and he was in good position to make the play.
Tim Stowers with a record of 29-12 as the fourth-year head coach at Georgia Southern. 1980 graduate of Auburn. 2nd and 10. Joe Dupree with a lone setback, James Williams. Here's the pitch to Chris Wright. And Wright roped down at the 31 by Twan Russell. There is a penalty flag down.
Offense.
And looks to be illegal motion against the offense of Georgia Southern.
Illegal shift, 2 men in motion, 5-yard penalty, repeat 2nd down.
So Nat, for the first time in this young football season, Miami fails to score a touchdown on its opening possession.
You know, that's something that you don't expect, especially against a Georgia Southern. But, you know, when you have an unforced error, the other team did not stop you. You stopped yourself. And the play we just saw on our screen was an excellent running play. But once again, the young team comes in. They're a little over inches. They got 2 people moving, and they just call back. Took away a big play.
One setback, 4 wideouts on 2nd and 15. And this is the fullback, James Williams, straight ahead. Just a couple down inside the 38. Ray Lewis, the middle linebacker. And number 71, Kenny Lopez, the 5th-year senior from Key West, Florida, in on the stop of Williams. Lopez playing hard, playing well for Miami. Didn't begin playing football till his junior year in high school. He's really come on for Miami.
Hey, the folks down in Key West got to be real proud of Kenny. He's an excellent football player, and who knows, one day we'll see him in pros.
3rd down 11 for Joe Dupree and his Georgia Southern option offense. Flag down again, and Dupree overshoots his man, Shafton Fraley, running the down and out left corner. And again, illegal motion against Georgia Southern. This is a Georgia Southern team averaging 317 yards of offense a game, 243 of them by the rush.
Decline. 4th down.
Elba Canes decline, 4th and 11, with the Eagles with 10:35 left in a scoreless first quarter.
But the defense is just doing a great job of taking away the run and forcing them to throw the football, which is something Georgia Southern does not like to do, and they haven't had a lot of success this year. And as long as Miami can do that, they'll be victorious today, I think.
Nobody deep for Miami. They may be anticipating a fake. Hometown fellow Bill Thatcher from Statesboro, Georgia, puts his right foot into it, hangs it high. But into the end zone, touchback Hurricanes. 1st and 10 Miami from the 20, scoreless here in the first quarter. Back to the Orange Bowl right after this.
Bring it down, bring it down.
Hurricanes football, the tailgating parties outside before the game. You stop off at one, Nat?
This has always been the thing that I enjoy about college football. The fans come out prior to the ball game, and they just have a good time having food and bread breaking with friends and family. So, you know, this is what college football is all about. I was fortunate enough to play college football, but pro football was great, but nothing beats the intensity and the fun that you have playing college ball.
That's Nat Moore, played collegiately at Florida in the NFL for the Miami Dolphins. I'm Eric Reed. Joe Rose down on the field for us. This is Miami's 2nd possession of the football game. We're scoreless, and it's 1st and 10 for the Hurricanes. Jonathan Harris makes the catch, goes out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Costa to Harris, 23 yards, 1st down Miami.
Harris knocked out of bounds. 1st down, Hurricanes.
Jonathan Harris been a quiet start, just 6 catches through the first 3 weeks, but a big grab for the junior out of Houston, Texas.
As we go back and look at this instant replay, this is just an excellent throw by Frank Costa as he gets it over the defender and hits Jonathan Harris for the big gain. Excellent throw and catch.
Yeah, that's the book on Frank Costa. Tough young man with a very strong right arm. From the 42, Donnell Bennett, the lone setback. Costa looking. Overshot his man just a bit. Dietrich Clausel, the tight end. Had it in his hands, but the junior from Gulfport, Mississippi, could not hold on.
A tough pass to handle, but was catchable. He could have came down with that one.
Well, you see what Miami accomplished on their opening drive. First 3 Saturdays. Not today. Miami has established an offense, though, that could move the football. 5 of their 10 touchdown drives have been over 80 yards. 7 have been 70 yards plus. From their own 42, 2nd and 10. Lots of running room for Donnell Bennett. Away from Darius Dawson. Check it, that's Larry Jones, who turned it up to the 47-yard line. 5-yard gain.
That's what you like to see. A young guy makes a mistake, and they come right back to him. They give Larry Jones the ball off tackle, and he tries to make up for that first error.
Let's go to Dennis Erickson's comments about this game today.
Georgia Southern is a great 1AA team. They won a national championship a number of years. They've got great athletes, and we're going to have to be prepared. We can't look ahead to Florida State. We've got to concentrate and really focus on Georgia Southern.
From the 47-yard line, 3rd down and 6 for Frank Costa. 5 receivers out, and he finds one of them, Jonathan Harris, for the first down. Harris, down the sideline he goes. Great bit of running for Jonathan Harris, advancing it to the Georgia Southern 30-yard line. 23-yard pickup. Here in the first quarter, it's been the Costa and Harris show.
Good tough running by this 165-pound junior. He does a great job of getting open, catching the football, and then bellying back, breaking tackles. Usually as a coach you say you don't want to see your receiver do this, but you know he's trying to get the big play, and here you see breaks 1, breaks 2, breaks 3 tackles, and then he's off and down the sideline. Great running by Jonathan Harris.
Talk about spreading out the defense. 5 receivers on that last pattern. Costa shot it too high for Chris Jones. Covered well by the free safety, Alton Hitson.
On that particular play, Eric, Alex Mash did a good job of getting penetration, getting in there, and basically hitting Costa just as he was throwing the football.
Nat, these are your keys to winning. Miami fumbling on their first possession.
Now, that's what Miami's got to stay away from, and got to continue to run the football, and on defense, they've got to be able to stop Georgia Southern's fullback.
First time we've seen 2 backs for Miami. 2nd down, 10 from the Georgia Southern 30. Costa under the rush. Finds Saeed Tucker down at the 15-yard line. Wrapped up immediately by Rob Stockton, but a 15-yard pickup for Miami. They move the chains again.
Costas is doing a good job of staying in the pocket. He took a big shot just then as he released the football, but was able to stay in there and get the ball downfield to Cy Tucker. And that's why I say this young guy is coming of age. He's doing all the right things, and he's holding the football until the guy comes free.
Just under 9 minutes left in this scoreless first quarter. Marcus Wimberly, bottom of your picture, as a wideout. High set for Costa on 1st and 10. This is Donnell Bennett. On a bounce outside and cannot get by the corner, Sean Austin, the senior from Thomasville, Georgia, with a nice ankle top tackle. That's a loss of 2. This is a Georgia Southern defense, Nat, at their level, 1AA. They've been dominant.
Well, we're very fortunate here. Even though we've got 1A and AA, you've got 2 teams that are very quality teams at their particular division.
Costa down 2nd and 12. A little high for Jonathan Harris. Through his hands, incomplete. A moment ago, we saw A.C. Tellison come off, and he is being tended to at the Miami sideline.
Here you see Costas dropping back, trying to get the ball to Jonathan Harris again. But, you know, in talking with Coach Starr yesterday, the one thing that he said that they were a mirror of the Hurricane football team. And there you see them coming up, putting a hat on Miami's receivers. They will hit you.
There's Tellison, the wide receiver for Miami, getting his left ankle retaped. Third down, 12 for Miami. Frank Costa out of the shotgun. He's already hit on 3 of 6 for 62 yards. Over the middle for Jamie German. He juggles and drops it. The freshman from Fort Myers let one get away.
That was just a freshman mistake, Eric. You know, Jamie German is one of those guys that, you know, he's so excited and he just tries to run with the football before he catches it here, and he does the juggling act. But, you know, there, as you see, he took his eyes off the football and started to run. He's got to be patient, catch the football, tuck it away, and then run.
This will be a 34-yard field goal attempt for Dane Pruitt out of the hold of punter Mike Chrissy. Pruitt 3 for 3 on the year, and all 3 have come from 40 yards out or more. And he drills it. A 34-yard field goal for the sophomore Dane Pruitt out of Birmingham, Alabama. And the Hurricanes put points on the board. 7:40 left, first quarter. 3-0 Miami here at the Orange Bowl. And our field goal for Dane Pruitt has the Hurricanes on the scoreboard with 7:40 left, first quarter. With Nat Moore, Eric Reed, delighted to be with you, our Sunshine Network crew, on a very warm and pretty afternoon at the Orange Bowl here in Miami. Slight breeze coming in the open end. There's Chris Wright, solo kick returner, waiting the boot from Scott Barnwell. That drive for Miami, 10 plays, 64 yards. A couple of big Jonathan Harris catches to keep it going. And again, Barnwell booming it deep into the end zone. Touchback and a 1st and 10 for Georgia Southern at their own 20. Let's go downstairs. Joe Rose standing by.
Thank you very much, Eric. Talking to the coaching staff for University of Miami, they talked about the importance of getting off to a great start in this game, taking a big lead, and allowing some of their second-team guys to come in, get some experience, and still rest your starters looking ahead to that Florida State game next week.
Thanks, Joe. One player, Dennis Erickson, will probably rest. The remainder of this day is fine wide receiver out of Bay City, Texas, A.C. Tellison. Sprained left ankle, doubtful to return. On first down, Dupree on the pitch to Chris Wright. He can't rip away from Rohan Marley or Terrace Harris. And both those players had big-time outings last week at Colorado. Harris had 15 tackles. And in the altitude, Marley able to play all 85 snaps on defense. There's the 64-yard drive for the Hurricanes. And the kicking game, not a concern for Dennis Erickson. Dane Pruitt has been like money in the bank.
Been automatic. You know, he started out last year, had a couple of tough first ball games, and then after that, he was just, he's been unbelievable.
7 minutes to play, first period. 3-0 Miami. Dupree gives it off to his fullback, Dwayne Johnson, and Twan Russell wrapping up. Number 35, Tyrone Stevens, a junior from Jessup, Georgia. Stevens averaging nearly 6 yards a carry.
Russell and Johnson for the Hurricanes on the tackle.
We'll be watching Dwayne Johnson today, replacing the injured star in the making, Warren Sapp, but the Hurricane coaching staff feel awfully good about the way Dwayne Johnson has made himself into a good football player.
He's matured quite a bit. He came in and they weren't sure about his ability, and now he's playing great football.
On 3rd and 8, quarterback draw for Dupree, and he'll lose a yard. Well, the pocket collapsed in a hurry for Georgia transfer Joe Dupree. Number 91, Darren Crine, along with his defensive end partner Kevin Patrick, and Ray Lewis collapsing the pocket. Another 4th down for Georgia Southern, trailing 3-0. And Miami will get it back with just under 6 minutes left in this first period. Again, Bill Thatcher dropping back in a punt formation. Jonathan Harris awaits. Another nice boot. Harris from the 32. And a penalty marker as Harris comes up to the 41. They will get an illegal block on Aaron Jones. That'll wipe out an 8-yard return. It was a 46-yard punt.
Illegal block in the back, above the waist, during the return. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run.
here you see Aaron Jones, you know, he's just got to hold up there. You can't get your headgear in front of the guy. You just got to be able to pull back and let the receiving receiver do something on his own. And there's just a bad decision by Aaron Jones. He's just trying to get his block. And bad decision.
Aaron Jones, a redshirt freshman out of Merritt Island, Florida. 3 wideouts for Miami. Chris Jones, Jamie German, Jonathan Harris all to the left. Lone setback on first down, Donnell Bennett. The junior from Fort Lauderdale takes it on first down, spinning ahead to the 32-yard line. That's an 8-yard gain and a nice stop by the outside linebacker, Darius Dawson.
Well, Donnell Bennett comes through the middle here, and you see him pick up 8 yards. But for you folks at home, the thing to look at is this big hole that you see Tyrell Green and Casey Jones, Zeb Lemelski, just a big hole. And I tell you what, Eric, even you could run through that.
I'd like to think so. Tyrell Green doing an excellent job on Alex Mash that play. Bennett gets another try, and he slashes near the 40-yard line up to the 39. That's a 7-yard pickup and a first down for the Miami Hurricanes as they ride the D-Train. Donnell Bennett off his best ever outing, 125 yards, 20 carries, pair of touchdowns at Colorado last Saturday.
Well, he's the big gun when you start talking about the Miami's running game, and you know, he's proven that he should be the #1 guy. And that offensive line is doing a good job of giving him room to run, and then he's making the most of it.
3-0 Miami, 4:36 to play here in the first quarter. End around to Chris Jones. A good block from Cy Tucker. And Jones finally swung down at the 45-yard line. Number 42, Nick Davis, the outside linebacker, part of the defense that stopped Jones, just a pickup of 5.
Georgia Southern defenders did a good job of staying at home, not being fooled by the flow, and we're in good shape for the reverse here. As you see everybody flowing back to the football, and Davis forcing him to turn it up and in on the tackle. Good job by Georgia Southern of staying at home and playing controlled defense.
Nice backside pursuit for the senior from Griffin, Georgia, number 42, Nick Davis. 2nd down and 5 for the Hurricanes. This is Larry Jones, the junior from Gainesville, in the Georgia Southern territory, and inside the 45 to the 44-yard line. Number 48, Dominic Turner, riding the back of Larry Jones, but a big pickup, 12 yards, another Miami first down.
Another big run, and once again, that offensive line just doing a great job. You got a trap block by Tyrell Green, and no one touches Larry Jones until he's into the secondary, and this is how you have a great running game. You got to give that offensive line a lot of credit.
Larry Jones averaging over 7 yards a carry, had 91 yards in the opener at Boston College on 8 carries, but very quiet since. On first down, Costa goes down. There's the first sack this afternoon for the senior from Thomasville, Georgia, Alex Mash. He now has 6.5 sacks on the year.
Well, Alex Mash is one of those guys that never quits. He was blocked pretty good by Tyrell Green, and he just kept moving his feet, moving his hands, fighting and fighting. And here you see Green is doing a good job, and he just stays after him. He's able to get Costa as he steps up in the pocket.
Also 5, we talked to Tim Stowers yesterday. He said the #1 thing about Mash is quickness.
Yeah, he is extremely quick as well as strong, and that's just good determination by the defensive lineman.
2nd down, 15. That one in and out of the hands of Marcus Wimberly, the redshirt freshman from Memphis, Tennessee, covered closely by Darius Dawson. We do have penalty markers down in the Georgia Southern secondary.
Illegal participation on a defense, 15-yard penalty, previous spots.
Boy, is that costly for Georgia Southern. Would have been a 3rd and 15 for Miami.
And that is a real big penalty.
Illegal participation, 12 men on the field on a defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
I don't see the 12th man, but you know, that's a very costly penalty, as you said, Eric, because you've got them backed up, you've got 3rd and 15, and now you give them first down, and with an offense this good, you can't afford to help them out.
So the Hurricanes pick up their 5th first down with some help. 2.5 left in the first quarter, 3-0 Miami. Costa, plenty of time, and now it runs out on him in a hurry. sacked back at the 39-yard line. That's a 5-yard loss. You know, the last time we did a Miami game here on Sunshine Network, it was against Virginia Tech here at the Orange Bowl. Costa was sacked 4 times. This was the second sack for the Georgia Southern defense already.
Right, here you see him take a quick 3-step drop. He doesn't get real deep, and he pumps, and then he pulls back. You know, Chris Jones was open, but that's more of a coverage sack.
Looked like Edward Thomas, the right side defensive end, rolled in the Costa for the sack. Second down and 15. This is Bennett weaving for big yards. Donnell Bennett with a stiff arm has the first down. Run out of bounds at the Georgia Southern 22. That's a 17-yard rumble for Donnell Bennett.
That just goes to show you what type of offense the Hurricanes have this year, is that they no longer have to live and die on the arms of the quarterback. They've got good, solid blocking up front, and they've got running backs that once they get in open field, they know what to do with the football. They're going north and south, not east and west.
Well, the D-Train honored last week by the Big East Conference and having a similar first quarter. 3-0 Miami, minute 39 left in the opening period. First and 10 at the Georgia Southern 23, and Costa wants it all. In and out of the hands of Jonathan Harris. And right between the safeties, Stockton, number 14, and Hitson, number 15.
I tell you, Frank was very lucky on that play there because he threw right into the tooth of the coverage. They were in a zone defense there, and you know, Jonathan Harris almost comes down with the catch, but you know, that's a tough pass to fit in there, and right there, if you see, Jonathan Harris almost gets his head taken off. This football team from Georgia Southern, as I said earlier, they will hit you, and they're a good football team, good hard-hitting, aggressive team.
Pretty good coverage. You can see Costa has confidence in his strong right arm, tried to zip it right between two. On second and 10, the delay to Jones. He gets wrapped up at the 19-yard line. Pickup of 4. And that'll bring up third and about 6 for Miami. Hurricane passing game bogging down just a bit. Their last 5 attempts, 3 incompletions, 2 sacks.
Well, I think they're just trying to mix it up because the running game is going well, but you know, you still want to continue to work on your passing game, and that's what they're trying to do. And the thing that Georgia Southern is doing, they're playing a zone defense and taking away some of those passing lanes so that Costa is having to eat the ball on a couple occasions.
Frank Costa has it third and 6 from the Georgia Southern 18. Under a minute left first quarter. Here at the Orange Bowl, it's 3-0 Miami. Markers down. Donnell Bennett smacking the helmets. Goes to the 16-yard line. Short gain will be shy of the first down, but it looked like Georgia Southern jumped off sides.
Good cadence by Frank Costa to pull him offside and had a free play there, and Donnell was running hard.
Offside. Defense. Repeat third down.
But you're talking about a team that swarms the ball carrier, and you had everybody coming up, and he just weren't able to get enough for a first down, but they get another play.
Offside. Defense, a 5-yard penalty.
Here you see a good job of Frank with the cadence of drawing them off, changing the snap count a little bit there so that they can't key in and get off on the ball.
Looked like it was Walter Flowers, a freshman from Savannah, Georgia, that jumped off sides. Third penalty of the first quarter against the Eagles of Georgia Southern. Third down, a yard for Miami. Inside the Eagles 15. Bennett has the first down. Donnell Bennett down to the 11. Brought down by number 48, Dominic Turner, but the Hurricanes should have enough to move the chains again. It is a first down for Miami, and that ends the first quarter. Now, Georgia Southern out of Division I AA, they made the trip down to Miami from Statesboro, Georgia, and through one quarter, they're still in this football game. We'll be right back.
If this is your reality, maybe you need a First Union reality check. The loan that can help you like your reality a whole lot better. First Union introduces the reality check. The hassle-free loan that helps life run a little more smoothly.
This Sunshine Network telecast is being brought to you by Florida Pigskin Magazine, the magazine featuring the nation's top college football state, the Gators, Hurricanes, and Seminoles. For subscriptions, call 1-800-PIGSKIN. Top-ranked teams and time-honored rivalries find their home in the only conference within the confines of one state, the Southwest Conference. A tradition as big as Texas. Houston and Texas A&M live next Saturday on Sunshine. Hey, Dolphin fans, get pumped for a fantastic season with your legendary friends on the field. We'll put you in full contact with your favorite fans on the Miami Dolphins Monday Night Magazine. Get frank with the fans by phoning in your thoughts and questions.
Joe Robbie Stadium will be electric this Monday night with the Washington Redskins coming to town. Join us at 7 o'clock as we preview the Skins and the Fins here on Sunshine.
The Miami Dolphins Monday Night Magazine. Monday night at 7 on Sunshine Network. Push the edge, the chalk, the talk, the walk. Not your typical players, not your typical game. It's tennis to the limit. The IBM ATP Tour, all season on Sunshine Network.
First down at the 11.
And the beautiful scenery at the Orange Bowl here in Miami. Well, the best scene's the one that take place down on the field. Miami Hurricanes have won 52 in a row here at the Orange Bowl. Let's go downstairs, see what Joe Rose has for us.
Thank you very much, Eric. Georgia Southern defense doing exactly what they had planned. Rush 3 and 4 men and force them to beat you with the run. They don't want to give up the big play with the pass offense today. Said the Hurricanes, if you're going to beat us, 80-yard drives on the ground. We'll give them to you all day. We don't believe that you have the patience or the ability. Back up to you guys.
122 yards of offense for Miami through one quarter. 25 yards for Georgia Southern. Hurricanes starting tough with their defense in the first quarter. They have given up very, very little. And Donnell Bennett running well, off to a good start today. 7 carries, 40 yards. Bennett and Larry Jones in the backfield for Frank Costa. This is the 11th play of a drive that began back at the Miami 24. First play of the second quarter, and a 1st and 10 at the Georgia Southern 11. Nice cutback for Bennett, and he gets to the 5-yard line. Donnell Bennett finally stopped. The cornerback, Sean Austin, but he had some help. Takes more than one man to bring number 33 down.
He's a very tough, hard runner that usually keeps his legs pumping, and he'll get that extra 2 or 3 yards if you don't get a swarming, game tackling type of team against him.
Bennett's 123 yards last week, almost a rarity. First time in about 2 years that a Hurricane back has gone over 100 yards. Should not be a rarity much longer because the Hurricanes are loaded at running back this year. 2nd down and 4. Bennett into the end zone, touchdown Miami. 13th career touchdown for Donnell Bennett.
Eric, you just have to give that offensive line a great deal of credit because no one is putting their hands on the running back until he's 3-4 yards downfield, and by the time there was a collision with Donnell Bennett there, he was already at the goal line. Good execution up front by that great offensive line that for so many games or so many years have been marred that they were not a good run-blocking football team. They're proving everybody wrong here today.
Dane Pruitt out of the hold of Mike Chrissy, and he nails another point after touchdown for Miami. Well, first minute, second quarter, Miami tacks their first touchdown on the board. And it's the Hurricanes leading Georgia Southern by 10.
Are you power hungry? Then you better hurry to your local Jeep and Eagle dealers year-end clearance because the 93 four-wheel drive Jeep Grand Cherokees are available with a V8 engine at no extra charge. This is your best chance to get a Grand Cherokee with a 220 horsepower V8, 6,500-pound towing capacity, and standard driver's side airbag at huge savings. But you'd better act fast because when these powerful V8s are gone, so are these powerful savings.
See your Florida Jeep and Eagle dealer. Hurricane football. Live the tradition and celebrate the 1983 National Championship this Saturday as the Hurricanes take on the Temple Owls.
Get on the fast track with the best in racing. NASCAR, Indy, NHRA, World Grand Prix, EMA Superbike, Motocross, USAC, Winston Cup, SCCA, Modified, Worlds of Outlaws, Formula One, highlight, preview, and review shows. All this and more on the fast track to excitement, right here on Sunshine.
14-16 left here in the second quarter. The Hurricanes riding Donnell Bennett on that 12-play, 76-yard drive. Bennett already 49 yards rushing and a touchdown.
Good job of blocking by the middle of that offensive line. Rudy Barber, Tyrell Green, Casey Jones score the touchdown for those guys. Bennett will get his share down the line. Good blocking. Good tough running by Bennett as well.
Well, good point, Nat. The Hurricanes taking care of business in the trenches. Tyrell Green, a 300-pound junior from Pittsburgh. Rudy Barber, a 295-pound senior guard out of Miami, Carroll City. There's your scoring drive. And of the 12 plays, 11 came on the ground.
Well, that's what you like to see as a defensive coach. Your offense controlling the football, keeping your defense off the field, and wearing down your opponents.
Next time you go out with the cable in front of you.
That's Chris Wright. And against a swirling wind, Barnwell gets his foot into it right from the 2. Nice lane for Chris Wright. All the way up to the 44-yard line. A very handsome 42-yard kickoff return for Chris Wright. Finally roped down by Earl Little, the freshman safety from North Miami.
This is where Georgia Southern could really help themselves. You know, in football, there's 3 teams. It's the offense, the defense, and the special team. And here you see them doing a good job on a kickoff return to get good field position to give their team a chance to go down and score.
We get another look at Joe Dupree, who transferred from Georgia after his freshman year. The quarterback pitches to Chris Wright. Wright turned the corner and got 3 up to the 47-yard line. All White and Carl Richardson running out Chris Wright, who had his best game as a Georgia Southern player last week against Tennessee Chattanooga. 79 yards, 7 carries, including a 28-yard touchdown run.
This is a kid that's got a lot of quickness, and here you see him pitching the ball to Shafton and Shafton Fraley, and he's outside with a lot of blocking in front. But one thing about that Miami defense, they pursue and they go to the football.
10-0 Miami, minute into the second quarter. Second down and 6. Georgia Southern at their own 48. And Dupree fumbled the snap from center. Ellen Pyle, see who has it. By the way, interesting story about the Georgia Southern center. Robert Moore, the freshman. Miami has recovered. Twan Russell recovers the football. Franklin Stevens is the Georgia Southern center today. He's a junior from Keysville, Georgia. And today, his first ever start at center. He is normally their all-conference right guard.
I talked to the offensive line coach a little bit before the ball game, and they've been working all week because they're not sure when they're going to get Shafton back. And they wanted to work this unit some and just see what he could do at the center position, and he got his first start.
So both teams have fumbled and lost their fumble. Hurricanes get it back, leading 10-zip, and excellent working position from the Georgia Southern 48. Derek Harris, the up back. The slot back, James Stewart gets it. Loads a running room. 13-yard pickup on first down for the load out of Vero Beach, Florida. James Stewart, a guy everybody on that Hurricane coaching staff raves about.
Well, Coach Dennis Erickson, every time you talk to him about James, you see his face light up and he starts to smile because he feels this is the back that could be their back of the future. The guy that not only has speed and quickness, but has a lot of power to go along with it.
James Stewart like a sledgehammer that can motor. 9 first downs for Miami, just 1 for Georgia Southern. At the Eagle 35. This is Stewart coming right. Oh, what a collision. James Stewart running right over number 11, Danny Britt. Again, close to 10 yards on the pickup, and you see the sledgehammer with wheels, James Stewart.
That's where Danny Britton have to say, did anybody get the number of that truck that just hit him? The thing that they like about James Stewart as you see him coming around the corner is that he doesn't shy away from the contact. He just drops his helmet and runs over folks and tries to pick up the extra yardage.
What a weapon James Stewart is. Danny Britt, the junior from Baconton, Georgia, probably still seeing some stars. Second down 1. Stewart again has the first down and gets inside the Georgia Southern 20-yard line. 6-yard gain for the sophomore James Stewart, who is averaging just about 7 yards a carry.
Well, I'll tell you, when you look at him here, you can understand why. When you've got an offensive line that's coming off the ball, a guy that has that kind of speed and is willing to mix it up and run over folks as well as run around them, you know that he's going to run for a great average.
Miami is grinding it out on the ground here in the second quarter with a 10-0 lead. From the Georgia Southern 20, Larry Jones, the lone setback. Costa finds his man, and Dietrich Clausel is swarmed at the 16-yard line. That's a 4-yard gain for Clausel, who makes his 3rd catch of the year. Here's Nick Davis, the linebacker, on the stop.
Well, as you see, Costa goes back. He's looking at the tight end all the way. He hits Clausel. But the thing you have to like about this Georgia Southern football team is they all flow to the football, and they swarm, and they come up, and they put the hat on you.
Well, their head coach, Tim Stowers, calls it heart speed. He says we have that in common with the University of Miami. Second down, 3 to go for the Canes at the Georgia Southern 13. Larry Jones trying to bounce outside, could not. No gain. Paul Carroll, the middle linebacker, leading the Georgia Southern charge to the ball carrier. And Carroll, a guy that can do it sideline to sideline. He loves to put a helmet on you.
A middle linebacker that has a lot of speed, can flow either way, and here you see him just flowing to the football. And the only mistake that Larry Jones makes here is that eventually you've got to turn upfield and go north and south versus running east and west.
Miami 2 out of 3 on 3rd down, and it's 3rd and 3. Derek Harris in front of James Stewart in the I set. Great block by Harris. Stewart dances away from Carroll, has the first down, penalty marker down as Stewart gets run out by the cornerback, Sean Austin. Another power run for James Stewart, but it'll come back on a holding call.
Well, that's a shame because James Stewart just did a great job of running and lifting up his feet, kicking through the tacklers, and coming up with the yardage necessary for first down.
10-yard penalty from spotted up foul. Repeat 3rd down.
And the Hurricanes are showing off an impressive power look with James Stewart as the tailback and a 240-pound fullback by the name of Derek Harris, who loves to block.
Well, I think that's why they're such a good football team, running the football for a change. They've got the offensive line coming off the ball. They got the backs blocking for each other, and you've got big, strong backs that are breaking tackles. It's not just the home run guys. It's guys that can get that tough yardage for you.
Nice afternoon here in Miami. Temperature around 85 degrees. A nice breeze blowing into the face of Frank Costa on 3rd and 8. Aaron snap, but a timeout was called by Miami. So we'll step aside for just a moment. 10:35 left in the first half. The 3rd-ranked Hurricanes leading by 10.
The Inside Story starts here. From the greats of the game to current controversies, nobody covers the big stories in the big leagues like Ed Randall's Talking Baseball. Get the Inside Story on Sunshine.
The way to not win in tennis is to think too much about your opponent. Because in tennis, you don't just play the opponent. You've got to play the ball. It's how you play the ball that determines whether your shot is in or out. Whether the point is won or lost. Play the ball better than your opponent, and you'll play winning tennis. Now, you can play the ball and win with this double offer from Tennis Magazine. You'll receive a free half-hour video by Tennis Magazine instruction editor Vic Braden, plus a full year, 12 issues of Tennis Magazine. Call this number now and change the way you play tennis. What a combination. The How to Play Winning Tennis with Vic Braden video, plus the magazine that brings more instruction to more tennis players than any other.
Call 800-652-2112 for a full year of Tennis Magazine, plus this free video, just $13.77. Call 800-652-2112 now.
This week in the Big East, Thursdays at 6 on Sunshine Network.
With Joe Rose and Nat Moore, Eric Reed welcoming you back to the Orange Bowl here in Miami, where the third-ranked Hurricanes lead Georgia Southern of Division I AA 10-0. Beautiful shot, Magic City of Miami, in the background of the Orange Bowl. 10.5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. And we want to remind you not to miss this week's edition of Miami Dolphins Monday Night Magazine with your host, Paul Kennedy. And tomorrow on Sunshine Network, it's the Mets and the Marlins as Major League Baseball wraps up here on Sunshine Network, the pregame at 1 o'clock. Frank Costa been in control of things. The junior quarterback from Philadelphia, just his 4th career start. And he's had it easy today, handing it off and admiring the work of that front 5 and the running backs.
Makes it a little bit easier sitting back in the pocket when the other team have to worry about you running the football.
Tim Stowers trying to find a solution. 3rd down and 8 at the Georgia Southern 18. Costa from the gun. Donnell Bennett could not drag away from Scott Davis. Gets inside the 15 to the 14. Just a 4-yard gain. And that'll be short of the first down. And we'll bring up a 4th and 4. So for the second time today, we'll see the place kicker, Dane Pruitt, attempt a field goal. Hit in the first quarter from 33 yards. This one from 32. Pruitt, a perfect 4 for 4 on the year. And make it a handful for Dane Pruitt. He's hit all 5 of his field goals here in his sophomore season. 9:52 to play, second quarter, 13-0 in favor of Miami.
Miami Hurricane football. Live the tradition and celebrate the 1983 National Championship this Saturday as the Hurricanes take on the Temple Owls.
The 15th Annual Electric Island Run, benefiting the Diabetes Research Institute at the University of Miami School of Medicine, kicks off Sunday morning, October 10th at 7:30. This energized event includes a 15K run, a 5K run, and a wheelchair division. Registration fee is $15 in advance and $20 the day of the race. The Electric Island Run. For more information, call the DRI Foundation at 305-477-3437. Report, Wednesday through Sunday on Sunshine Network.
Back here in Miami, the Hurricanes, off the fumble recovery by Twan Russell, tack on another Dane Pruitt field goal, and it's now a 13-0 lead over the visitors from Statesboro, Georgia.
This is a much different ball game than we expected, though, Eric. We expected the Hurricanes to come in here and run the score up, and you know, ironically, Georgia Southern has hung in there pretty good defensively and made Miami earn everything they've gotten.
Chris Chris Wright, 5'8", 168, junior out of Valdosta, Georgia. This is the view he has of Scott Barnwell. Great work by our Sunshine crew. Wright starts from the 12. Fumbles the football. At the 25. Let's see who comes out with it. Indication is that Georgia Southern keeps it. 9:45 left, second quarter. Jonathan Richardson, number 29, came away with it.
Here you see Wright on your screen trying to turn it up, and Malcolm Pearson comes in and strips him of the football, but Georgia Southern was able to get on the football and retain possession.
The first down for the Eagles at their own 25. The flip back to Shafton Fraley, and he gets across the 30 up near the 34-yard line. Nearly a 9-yard pickup for Shafton Fraley, a junior out of Milledgeville, Georgia. And Fraley is explosive as well. You see the numbers at 68 yards, just 4 carries against Tennessee Chattanooga last Saturday.
This kid's got a lot of speed, and when you get him outside, he can really turn on the afterburners. But you know, the difference is today he's running against guys with the University of Miami that has just as much speed.
On 2nd and 1, the fullback James Williams straight ahead picks up the first down. He gets to the 39-yard line. See Baraka short. In at a defensive end spot for Miami, number 50. And in at a linebacker spot, freshman James Burgess, who wears number 54. Burgess playing the outside, along with Twan Russell, Ray Lewis still on the inside. 1st and 10 for Georgia Southern. This is Chris Wright. James Burgess from behind, roping down Wright. But not before Chris Wright picks up 9. James Burgess shows you he can cover some ground, the first-year player out of Homestead, Florida.
Well, they've got 2 great freshman linebackers here, and you'll see James Burgess on your screen. As the ball is pitched, he's just running to the football and just sort of hog ties Wright here and pulls him down after an 8-yard gain.
All 3 of the linebackers in the game for Miami are freshmen. 2nd down, a yard for Georgia Southern, their own 47. And the fullback straight ahead, that's James Williams again. And Georgia Southern hammers its way to another first down inside of Hurricane territory with 8:28 remaining in the first half.
Well, Eric, if you notice what they're doing now, they're starting to give the ball to the fullback a little bit more to keep that middle linebacker at home. And if that linebacker runs out of there, the fullback has a chance of popping it up the middle.
Wide receiver at the top of your screen, Dexter Dawson, a sophomore, a big playmaker, in quiet thus far. On 1st and 10, this is Darren Willis. Nice catch, nice run with it. Picked up nearly 10 to the Miami 41, where Paul White put an end to it. That's a familiar combination. Darren Willis and Joe Dupree went to high school together in Macon, Georgia. Willis is a transfer from East Carolina.
Well, Willis is the guy that came into this year as the big play receiver, but Dexter Dawson is a guy that had the big game against Tennessee Chattanooga, and they're still expecting big things from Willis.
There's a penalty marker down for Miami. That's Darius McCallum, a redshirt freshman out of Gainesville.
Offside.
He's a defensive back.
Defense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
They'll be offsides on Miami. They'll repeat first down.
Georgia Southern accepts the penalty.
Kevin Patrick, the man that moved, number 86, the right side defensive end from Palm Springs, Florida.
Here you see Joe Dupree as he goes back, and earlier we saw a clip where they were showing that quick screen again, and you know that's what they've got to do: mix up the plays and find ways to get the ball to those outside speedy guys to take away some of that pursuit of the Hurricanes.
Again, movement on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Finger pointing each ways on 1st down and 5. And the preliminary indication indicates it's against Miami. Hurricanes leading it if you're just joining in, 13-0.
Offside. Defense. First down.
Couple of field goals for Dane Pruitt. A 5-yard touchdown run for Donnell Bennett. And that time it was Kenny Lopez, number 71, getting the false start.
You we talked about Costa's ability to use the snap count and to draw people offside, and we see that Dupree has the same ability, and he's not going to let them sit on his snap count and get off the ball every time.
Here's Joe Dupree as it 1st and 10. Fumble, but it's recovered by the man that dropped it, James Williams. Well, the option offense, we say it every week, high risk, high reward. Nearly lost it again.
Well, he nearly lost it because he was trying to pull it out. He put it into the fullback, and it's his read, and James takes it from him instead of letting him leave it in or pull it out, and there you see the ball on the ground, but he was fortunate enough to get back on it.
Loss of 1, 2nd down and 11 as Joe Dupree looks to his sideline. Dupree at Georgia actually started a game as a freshman, but he transferred when the Bulldogs decided to go with Eric Zier at the quarterback position. 2nd down and 10. Dupree wants a throw. Won't get a chance. Warmed and smothered back at the 44.
That's just good pass rush by the two defensive ends. You see both Darren Crine and Kevin Patrick come around, and there's a meeting at the quarterback. And of course, you've got Tawan Russell coming in, shaking the ball loose, but a little late because the play had already been ruled dead.
You're right, though. Crine and Patrick, the first two to get there. An assist from Tawan Russell, who's making his first career start today. As we look at Kevin Patrick getting a piece of his 4th sack of his senior season. 3rd down, 15, just under 6 left, 2nd quarter, 13-0 Miami. Here's the give straight ahead for James Williams. He gets to the 36-yard line. Needed 15, Williams gains 9. So a 4th and 6 decision ahead for Tim Stowers.
But a good play selection, knowing that Miami was going to come after him. They came close to popping the fullback free up the middle and had a good pickup, good long gain, and they've got a chance to go for the field goal. And you're talking about a guy that's kicked, what, 3 53-yarders?
Yes, sir, in his career, including a 53-yarder last week. And this will be a 53-yarder. Reed Haley, the junior from Clearwater, Florida, will try to put the Eagles on the board. And somebody got a piece of it, I think. Paul White may have got a hand on the football, number 4, because that kick not even close.
It wasn't close, and that's good special teams, boy, when you got that guy coming around the corner that has that 4-4 speed that can get his hands on the football. Paul White did a good job of shaving the corner and laying out to deflect the kick.
Now the Hurricanes gave up just 7 points in their opener at Boston College, just 2 against Virginia Tech. They have held Georgia Southern off the scoreboard to this point. 5:06 to play in the first half. And up 13-0, the Hurricanes get it back on offense, where they've been chewing up their own Orange Bowl turf via the rush. Costa comes up short at the 40-yard line, intended for Cy Tucker, the tight end.
Hits it on the coverage.
Modest numbers thus far for Frank Costa, who has been over 200 yards passing in all 3 of his starts.
Well, the difference today versus Colorado, they were able to get Colorado in some man coverage, and they were able to hit some guys deep. Georgia Southern is determined to stay in their zone defense, play the 4-3, and sit back and let the safeties react up, as well as the linebackers.
3 receivers to the top. James Stewart runs to the sideline and doesn't get very far at all. Michael Morris dragging him down from behind. The 6' 3" junior from Adel, Georgia, very rangy and athletic defensive end, do have a penalty flag down. And it looks like a hold against the Hurricanes.
Holding, offense, decline, 3rd down.
Penalty against Miami is declined.
Georgia Southern declines the penalty, and that'll bring up a 3rd down and 11 for Miami.
Here you see the speed of Michael Morris, the defensive right end, as he runs down James Stewart from the backside, being unblocked.
Well, let's see what Dennis Erickson calls here. Stewart, the lone back. 3rd down and 11. And Ryan Sellers came charging in a little bit early. And the nose guard from Tylertown, Mississippi knows it.
He knows it, but, you know, to get ahead and try and do something to stop this offensive line of the Hurricanes.
Offside.
You know, you've got to sort of cheat it. You've got to try and get off on the snap count, and once again, they tricked him and pulled him off with a delayed snap count.
Offside. Defense. Third down.
But, you know, he was only a little bit offside.
Ryan Sellers wondering, have I gotten this quick all of a sudden?
Casey Jones has done a good job of handling him most of the day, and you know, he's just trying to find that edge so he can get some penetration and stop this running game.
4.5 minutes left, first half. 3rd and 6 for Miami at their own 40. Lots of time for Costa. And he gets it to A.C. Tellison. We didn't expect to see A.C. again today, but he grabs the pass, 7 yards, first down, Miami.
That was just a great catch. The cornerback was in good position there. You're talking about Brandon Roselle. He breaks on the ball, and A.C. Tellison just goes up over him and comes down with the catch for the first down. I mean, you're talking about a receiver making a big play. This could have been an interception, but as you see Costa let the ball go, Tellison goes up, takes it away.
Good coverage, an even better catch for A.C. Tellison, a 6'4" junior out of Bay City, Texas. He's made some big catches already this year for Miami. Now Costa bouncing that one short of James Stewart on first down.
That was just a miscue. I don't think James Stewart is used to operating out there, Eric, because that was supposed to be a quick hitch. And instead of going 5 yards and turning around, I think he went about 8-9 yards, and the ball was already in the air. Just a little miscommunication between the receiver and the quarterback.
Well, Stewart is inexperienced. He missed all of last year with a shoulder injury, getting his first significant playing time. 2nd down, 10. This is Stewart. Turns it up and carries about 5 tacklers with him to the 45-yard line. Pickup of nearly 6 yards for James Stewart. Art Kehoe, who coaches the tight ends at Miami, uses the term scary good when he refers to James Stewart.
Well, I tell you, these running backs for the University of Miami, the first guy in has a headache. The first guy is going to get ran over, ran around. Very seldom will you see one guy bring down one of these University of Miami running backs because they all run tough with the football.
Well, Georgia Southern's Scott Davis looks to be the one that's down. There's Darius McCullum, the redshirt freshman safety for Miami, out with a sprained right shoulder. We will not see him again this afternoon. 4 minutes, 9 seconds left, first half. 13-0 Miami, and there goes Scott Davis, junior middle linebacker out of Powder Springs, Georgia. And he needs a helping hand to make it back to that Eagles bench. There will be a number of bells rung for Georgia Southern today.
Well, here you see he gets rolled by Terrell Green as he comes down. He blocks him around the legs, which is legal. But anytime you see guys around your knees, you worry about a player hurting his knee or some type of knee injury, and hopefully he'll be back.
3rd down, 4 for Miami at the Georgia Southern 45. Stewart on his own rumbles inside the 40 to the 37 as the first down before Alton Hitson could knock him off track. Hitson and number 19, Marco Bradham, able to derail James Stewart, but not before he was able to pick up another first down.
Did you say derail? You can't be talking about James Stewart. You've got to enjoy watching this young man run because he just runs through people. He just runs over folks, and he's not going to be knocked back. And I think as an ex-player, this is what you've got to look forward to. Seeing a guy with so much tenacity that will not be denied.
We are looking at a future NFL draft pick, no question about it. Lots of folks already touting Stewart as a future #1 pick by the NFL, and that we're seeing why. Sprinter speed and a big-time body to play the fullback spot.
Well, I tell you, every time he runs the football, he runs it as if this is his last play, and he tries to get the most out of every play, and that means sacrificing your body and running over people, and he's shown no fear when it comes to that.
Halftime just 3:43 away, and we've got much ahead for you, including a conversation with Leonard Hamilton, who coaches Miami Hurricane basketball squad. Much to talk about with Leonard. They're just a month away from beginning their practices.
Well, Leonard is not only a great coach, he's a great individual. I was one of his biggest fans in college. He and I both were at UT Martin for a spell there, and you could tell then that he would make a great coach.
Longtime assistant at Kentucky, ran his own program at Oklahoma State, and taking Miami into a very interesting era of Big East basketball. They'll be able to get some good things done this coming year.
And has done an unbelievable job here at home as far as being able to compete and having a winning record at home in the Big East.
You're right. They went 7-2 at Miami Arena in Big East play last year. Well, Dennis Erickson, he wasn't displeased to have this game on the schedule the week before Florida State, giving Dennis a chance to rest some of his injured people, including defensive starters Warren Sapp, Corwin Francis, and Robert Bass. Also sitting this one out, tailback Danielle Ferguson.
Well, this is the next best thing to having a bye week, as long as you don't get one of your key players hurt in the process. But it's a good tune-up before going into Tallahassee next week.
Hurricanes would like another strike here in the final 3:43 of the first half. 1st and 10. Costa on a short drop, looking all right. And he tried to pull that one back. Chris Jones well covered down the right sideline. And the closest man to it was the middle linebacker, Huey Hunt.
Once again, Frank does a good job of getting back, but as you see, it's a 3-step drop, and the linemen are not cut blocking. So he's got to either take a 5-step drop and throw it on timing, or 3-step and just let the ball go. Miami's passing game a little bit inconsistent so far through this first half. 2nd and 10. Wimberly, Tellison, and Harris all flanked to the top. Out of the shotgun. Looking underneath. Finds Saeed Tucker, first down at the 20, inside to the 19-yard line. Nice strike. Saeed Tucker brought down by Marco Bradham, but a first down for Miami on a pickup of 17 yards. Now, see, on that play, he went back, Eric. He took a 5-step drop, stepped up, threw the football. There was no indecision. He was able to get the ball, and he was able to fit it in versus a tight zone. As you see, Tucker goes down. He's back 5 steps, steps up, boom, on rhythm. That's what you got to have your quarterback do, and then Tucker does a good job of picking up a few extra yards. Anytime you go back and you only take that three-step drop, it puts you in a difficult position.
That went off the hands of Saeed Tucker. Frank Costa trying to put the touch on it, and just out of the reach for the 6'6" tight end who has a couple of catches already today.
Yeah, he tried to pull a string on this one, and it got away from him a little bit. But that's a pass that he's going to have to complete in the big ball game, and this is a good time to run those plays and try and get some experience with throwing that type of pass.
That's Tommy Spangler, Georgia Southern's defensive coordinator. This is the 10th play of this Miami drive. 2nd and 10 at the Georgia Southern 19. James Stewart still going. To the 11-yard line, another 8-yard rumble for the wrecking ball. James Stewart. That'll bring up a 3rd down, and let's call it a short 2.
If I was an offensive lineman, anytime I hear them call James Stewart's number, I'm going to block a little harder, because I know if I block for 4 or 5 yards, as you see Barber here just getting a tie, he's going to run over and run through tacklers, and we're going to come up with a 10-yard gain, and it's going to look good when it comes to grading the film on Sunday.
Dominic Turner finally brought down Stewart. And we get a penalty marker thrown with
dead ball, full start offense.
Against Miami with 2:26 to play in the first half. It's 13-0 Hurricanes. That'll make it 3rd down and 8. Jones, A.C. Tellison, Jonathan Harris all come to the right. Lone setback is Stewart. Here's Stewart. Nice cutback. Brought down at the 14-yard line. Number 37, Huey Hunt. So a 4-yard pickup and another opportunity for a Dane Pruitt field goal.
Well, here you see Costa goes back. He looks downfield, and it's a screen all the way out to James Stewart, just trying to give him a little running room. But Georgia Southern is sitting back in their zone defense, reacting up, holding him short of the first down.
This will be a 31-yard attempt. Pruitt has already hit from 33 and 32. Well, Dane Pruitt has the hat trick here in the first half. 3 field goals for Pruitt. And it's now a 16-0 lead for Miami.
Well, Pruitt is getting a lot of work for next week, but I think the guy that's getting the work out is James Stewart, and I think this is the time that Coach Ariston has decided that he's going to give him some work because he could be sorely needed next week, where if anything happens to Donnell Bennett or Larry Jones, he'll be the first guy in.
So the Hurricanes developing some depth today. Tim Stowers developing a little more character, but he is quite a country homespun character. We had a great chat with him yesterday.
Yeah, that was enjoyable. You know, this is a guy that's ready for major college football, even though he's at Division I AA. He is ready for his own TV show. I think he's ready to play the coach on Saturday, on what's that, Monday night?
Well, he said to us earlier this week about his expectations of this game. We hope they sign the check, cook the chicken, and have plenty of crutches on hand. But he's a good football coach and a fun guy to be around. Tim Stowers, who worked with Irk Russell for 5 years as his offensive line coach. He said, Irk taught me 2 things: to keep it simple, and number 2, if you play hard, things will take care of itself.
Well, that's what he felt the difference was in the University of Miami's football team, is that they play hard, they have fun, and they do the same things over and over again. So by keeping it simple, you don't make a lot of mental mistakes. And that's what he's been able to transpire with his football team, and that's what he feels that Miami does. And it's a program that they would like to emulate.
Scott Barnwell has it teed up. He'll send it to Chris Wright. Minute 23 left in the half, 16-0 Miami. The Hurricanes have scored on their last 4 possessions. Started at the 7, advances to the 30, a 23-yard return, and the special team stop made by Marvin Davis. There's your scoring drive, 12 plays, 49 yards. Dane Pruitt's 3rd field goal. Do you sense some frustration, Nat, by Miami? They've had to settle 3 times for a Pruitt field goal rather than touchdowns.
I think that is extremely frustrating, if for no one else but the quarterback, Frank Costa. You know, you've got to be patient, and eventually it'll happen, but if you start trying to force the issue is when you come up with big plays that hurt you.
Joe Dupree on the keep, brought down by Baraka Short, getting some playing time this afternoon. The defensive end out of Opelika, Florida, had a great career at Norland High School. And Dupree calls timeout with just under a minute left here in the 2nd quarter.
I talked with Tommy Tuberville before the ball game, and their key to beating this football team and handling them pretty well was to stop the fullback, to force Dupree to pull it out and complete the option, because they felt if he went through that second option and had to pitch the ball, they could get some turnovers. And as you see, they've taken away the fullback most of the day, and they've been successful. If the fullback starts to rumble, then you're talking about Georgia Southern able to execute their offense totally, and it will put Miami in a position where now they've got to stay home and play their own position.
Don't forget the National Hockey League here on Sunshine Network. Wednesday, Tampa Bay Lightning at New Jersey to play the Devils. And on Thursday, October 7th, the Florida Panthers and the Blues from St. Louis. Game subject to NHL territorial restrictions. There's Miami Arena, the home for the Florida Panthers of the NHL, the Miami Heat of the NBA. Just a short hop away from the Orange Bowl. And Joe Dupree swarmed under by the Hurricane defense. He gets maybe a yard. James Burgess, the active outside linebacker, first to get there. Timeout Miami. 47 seconds left here in the first half. This is a big year for Georgia Southern. Last 2 years, Tim Stowers' team finishes 7-4 and not invited to the 1AA playoffs. 16 teams are invited. This is the first year they've been a member of the Southern Conference, a league which gets an automatic bid. but Marshall is in that league. Marshall has already beaten this Georgia Southern team, and they're the top-ranked team in 1AA. So it would take an at-large bid for Tim Stowers, perhaps, to get back to the playoffs. You see, he won it all in his first year, going 12-3 in 1990. But the 2 7 and 4 years have set him back just a bit.
Well, they're a little disappointed in the last 2 years that they were not in the playoffs, but they feel that if they can come in here and survive Miami, or even lose to Miami, and then go undefeated from here on in, that will get them an at-large bid. And once they get in the playoffs, we all know what can happen in a sudden death playoff.
Well, on the other sideline, 45-year-old Dennis Erickson, the former Montana State quarterback, has different concerns, getting his team prepared for the second half today. And not to look ahead, but the game of the year looms just a week away at Florida State next Saturday. Dupree going deep on 3rd and 9. Overshot his man, Dexter Dawson, down the right sideline, and running step for step with him, Carlos Jones, the best young defensive back for the Hurricanes.
Young defensive back with a lot of speed, but he did a good job there of staying back, not going for the pump fake on the out and up, and being in good position so they were not able to complete the pass.
Well, Miami takes its last timeout.
Miami, the third and final timeout of the half.
Stopping the clock with 40 seconds to play. Hurricanes would like more points, ahead 16-0.
Plus, I think the Hurricanes would like to use this opportunity to work on their 2-minute drill. You know, you never get enough work to prepare for the big ball games, and here's an opportune time, because there's no way at the end of the ball game, if they play good football, they should have a 2-minute drill. Here's that opportunity, and Dennis want to take advantage of that.
And there is Dennis Erickson. You know what his record is here at the Orange Bowl? 25-0. But a week from today, he'll be taking his team to Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee to take on Bobby Bowden's top-ranked Florida State club. Then it's back home against Syracuse. The Orangemen losing at home this afternoon to Boston College.
Well, that's one of the big ball games on the University of Miami schedule, but you know, they can't afford to not even look past Georgia Southern or Florida State thinking about the Big East.
Major hurdle to another national championship lies 1 week away for Miami. Bill Thatcher at his own 18. Hurricanes were coming. Thatcher got it away well. And Harris takes the fair catch at the 26. So Frank Costa will have 33 seconds left in the first half to get something done.
Well, this is a situation where you've got 33 seconds. You've got the ball at your 26-yard line, and Miami would like to move it into field goal position, see if they can come up with another field goal. They're not thinking touchdown at this moment. They're thinking field goal. If they're able to get down the field in a hurry, they'll be able to accomplish that.
Jones to the bottom of your screen. Harris in the slot. Tellison up top. This is Chris Jones. Up to the 32-yard line. That's a pickup of 6.
Good safe pass, a little hitch route out to Chris Jones. He goes down 8 yards. Costa goes back, sets, throws the football. He catches the ball, gets out of bounds, preserving time. Good, smart football in a 2-minute drill.
Took all of 4 seconds. 29 seconds left in the first half. Down the middle for Tucker. Great catch in the Georgia Southern territory at the 43-yard line. Cy Tucker reaching out, taking a wallop, but holding on.
Good concentration by Cy Tucker as he catches the ball, takes the hit, jumps right up, and ready to get started for the next play.
21-yard gain and a great reach and catch by Tucker. 20 seconds left in the half, and Costa stops it best way he can.
I tell you, Eric, Costa showed a lot of smarts there and a lot of leadership. You had Chris Jones that didn't realize the tight end was on his side and had lined up on the line of scrimmage, and Costa had enough presence to tell Chris to move back so they wouldn't be illegal and lose 5 yards. Good heads-up play by Frank Costa.
And then how about Cy Tucker? He has had a case of the dropsies early on in the season, dropping a few catchable footballs. That was a stellar catch.
That's called great concentration, and he's shown through the early part of this season that he can catch the football. And here you see Dane Pruitt warming up for his opportunity.
8 19 seconds left in the half. Costa got to get it closer, and he will not. Michael Morris ropes him down at the 45-yard line. That's a loss of 1. Clock still running, down under 10 seconds. And the Hurricanes will have problems getting another snap off.
Well, that was a sack that Frank could not afford to take. You know, there was plenty of time, but they were covered. He's got to throw the ball away. Got to get rid of it because, you know, you're talking about no timeouts left. You cannot afford a sack, and he took a big sack there.
Well, the Hurricanes walked to the dressing room with a 16-0 lead, thanks to 3 Dane Pruitt field goals and a 5-yard touchdown run from Donnell Bennett. So while Dennis Erickson's team was in control, Tim Stowers' Georgia Southern Eagles with nothing to be ashamed about. They've basically kept Miami out of the end zone.
Yeah, you've got to be impressed with Georgia Southern's defense. They've done a good job of keeping them out of the end zone, but more so, they have not been able to throw the football with any degree of success.
Joe Rose is standing by with the head coach of Georgia Southern.
Thank you very much. Coach, I got to ask you, first of all, great performance so far in the first half for your defense.
Well, our defense is really playing hard. We got one of the outstanding defenses in 1AA. Our offense has had some opportunities to move the football. We had field position, we turned it over one time. Another time we missed a field goal. We just got to punch it on in, knock it on in, get first downs, and move the ball on down the field and get touchdowns.
Looks like the guys, I was over in the second quarter, guys getting a little bit tired.
Well, we've played a lot of plays on defense. I believe we'll get a little rest in the rest at halftime. I think we'll be all right in the second half.
Okay, good luck, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, back up to you guys.
Little country cooking for Georgia Southern and their fine head coach, Tim Stowers. We're halfway through at the Orange Bowl in Miami. The number 3 Hurricanes leading it by 16.
Best fried clams in the city and 36 taps. No one sells more draft beer in New York than I do. So when they came to me with Coors Extra Gold, I said, what do I need another beer for? Couldn't believe it. Now the bartenders can't pour it fast enough. It seems to just take off. It's amazing. Who'd have thought? You know what? I think Coors Extra Gold is the best premium beer in the country, without a doubt.
You don't have to run a bar to know a good beer. Coors Extra Gold. Get back to real beer.
I think it's about the best thing we ever did.
A safari rarely lasts longer than a few weeks, unless it's a safari maintained with genuine AC oil filters, because over hill, dale and wadi, no other filter can track down, trap and capture more dirt. So, AC oil filters keep your engine in the hunt for a longer life. AC Delco. It's like buying time. When it's a matter of survival, it's AC filters.
At La Quinta Inns, our most frequent guests are traveling salesmen. So we asked a few how they'd sell La Quinta.
You look like a person on the go, am I right? You're a VIP kind of guy, am I right? You don't have time for some fancy-smancy breakfast, am I right? At La Quinta, they've customized a free continental breakfast for busy guys like yourself. In fact, this blueberry muffin was baked with you in mind.
La Quinta, you're not staying at a hotel. You're staying with us.
The college football coach, the mastermind, the motivator, the man with the plan, the guy who really understands the X's and O's, and frankly, the only guy that can explain them. Well, have no fear. Your favorite college football coach is here every week to fill you in on your alma mater's game plan. Check out the coaches shows and see those X's and O's really work. Your college football coaches show.
Spectacular afternoon here in Miami, Florida. We are at the Orange Bowl. Halftime, where the bands are entertaining the home folks. So have the Hurricanes, leading Georgia Southern 16-0. Leonard Hamilton runs the show. As far as the basketball Hurricanes go, an exciting Big East program. They just keep getting better. Matter of fact, last year at Miami Arena, this young Miami Hurricane squad won 7 of their 9 Big East basketball games. Hi again, welcome back everybody. Eric Reed, along with the basketball coach at the University of Miami, Leonard Hamilton. Leonard, you're getting set for your 4th year. I know you were delighted by the way your team played at home in the Big East a year ago.
Well, we're excited about the upcoming season. We felt that we made tremendous progress in our 2nd year in the Big East, and this will be our 3rd year in the Big East Conference, and we're looking forward to the upcoming season.
How about the Big East Conference this year? How does it stack up?
we feel that's going to be a much improved conference. Georgetown's back, Syracuse back, Connecticut's improved, and from top to bottom, we expect it to be a very hard-fought race.
How about your ball club? You've got lots of returning starters back. Constantine Popa, let's start with your big guy.
Well, we have 3 returning starters, possibly 4 with Patrick Lawrence and Michael Gardner, Popa, and Edwards. But the big fella in the middle, Constantine Popa, really had an improved season last year. He was second-team all-conference, and we feel that he has gained additional weight and strength. He's up to about 235 now, and we want to get some added weight on him, and we think he's looking forward to a good year.
Leonard Hamilton hoping the home court brings lots of good things to this Miami Hurricane program. Why don't you forecast your home schedule for us?
Well, right now, we're highlighted by the Big East Conference conference teams. We feel that they're going to offer a lot of excitement in Miami this year. The teams, several of the teams will be ranked in the top 10, so we feel that the Big East Conference highlights our upcoming season.
You've got 2 fine young backcourt players in Steve Edwards out of Miami and Steve in formation for the Hurricanes. Jamie German, number 7. Jonathan Harris, number 3. German on the 1 bounce from 2 yards deep. And German goes down at the 21-yard line. Brought down by Eric Thigpen, number 27 on the special teams. So the Hurricanes will begin 1st and 10 at the 21-yard line. Florida State in a walk over Georgia Tech, so they stay unbeaten, and your Gators come back against Mississippi State, 38-24. In the Big East, Boston College with a huge win at the Carrier Dome in Syracuse. How about West Virginia at home, holding off a very strong Virginia Tech squad? There are the numbers on Frank Costa. This is Bennett. Nailed the cut inside, gets him 5 to the 26-yard line. Here's a look at Miami's drive chart. Remember the fumble on their opening possession? After that, hard to stop.
Hard to stop, and just good execution, and this is what they've got to do today. Work on fundamentals and get ready for next week when they play that team up there at Florida State.
Alan Simonette, number 66, opening at right guard for Miami here in the 3rd quarter. Larry Jones gets the give. Straight ahead until he's brought down by the inside linebacker, Paul Carroll. Very close to a 1st down, and it is.
Hurricanes, 1st down.
So 2 runs here in the 3rd quarter. Another move of the chains for Miami.
Right here you see Rudy Barber just does a good job of taking his man the way he wants to go, and Larry Jones breaks off the backside and comes up with a big run for 1st down. That offensive line of the Hurricanes is just coming off the football and taking control of the line of scrimmage.
Dietrich Clausel, the tight end, to the right. Costa rolling to his left. On the far sideline at the 34. That's a 2-yard pickup for Frank Costa. And Morris shows you some range from that defensive end spot.
All right, big, strong defensive end with a lot of speed and quickness, and he showed good speed getting outside because Frank had plenty of blocking. So the defensive secondary did a good job of covering all of his receivers, and he had to pull it down and try and run for a couple yards gain.
Morris out of the lineup. Edward Thomas replaces number 91. Wimberly to the right. German in the slot. Harris tight. Dietrich Clausel with a catch right at the 1st down marker up at the 42-yard line. Gain of 8, which is what they needed. It'll be very close. And another 1st down for Miami. So they picked up 2 1st downs on their opening drive here in the 3rd quarter, leading 16-0.
They picked up 2 1st downs by running the football and then keeping it in the middle. They seem like they're throwing the ball at Paul Carroll, but he's always around the football and making good sure tackles to hold him to a short gain.
17 1st downs for the Hurricanes, just 4 for Georgia Southern. Costa going deep. Nobody out there, and it's picked off by Alton, hits him, a free safety. And German wraps him up, brings him down by the face mask at the 20-yard line, and a penalty marker down.
I think we got a face mask by Jamie German as he makes the tackle, but you know, they're back once again playing that soft zone with nowhere to throw the football, and Frank threw it up for grabs.
First foul, face mask, defense, first down, 15-yard penalty.
That was a bad-looking play all around for Miami because Costa did have time and nobody near that football.
Well, nobody's open. He's trying to get the ball to Jamie German, but there's a couple defenders back there in good position to come down with the pick. You know, that's a ball that should never have been thrown. Here you see Costa, he's trying to get up and do what all good quarterbacks do after they throw an interception, is be in on the tackle, but he's got to be frustrated at this point.
Second time this year Costa's been intercepted, the first time since the fourth quarter of the opener at Boston College. Shafton Fraley following his blocks well.
Fraley on
the 47-yard line, 9-yard pickup for Shafton Fraley.
Along with Russell, first down.
Well, this option is a beautiful thing when ran properly, and the guy that does a good job that springs this for more than a 4 or 5 yard gain is Darren Willis, who comes over the receiver. He's a good blocker, and he does a good job of keeping the safety from getting in on the play and stopping it early.
A first down and 10 for the Eagles of Georgia Southern at their own 47-yard line, still looking for their first points. And James Williams looking for a bit of fresh air. He was smothered. Rohan Marley, number 2. Darren Crine, number 91, right there.
Well, Rohan was blitzing on that play right into the hole where the fullback was running, and it was one of those times when Dupree did not pull the ball out, gave it to the fullback, and Rohan was right there to hit him as he took the football.
Kevin Patrick also had his arms around the ball carrier. Second down and 10. The slotbacks and the fullback behind Dupree. This is Wright in motion. He gets the pitch. Good block. Chris Wright in the Miami territory, turning the corner and being run out at the Hurricane 43. Ray Lewis and Dexter Siegler on the stop of Chris Wright. So we've seen Wright go right, Fraley go left, and they get good gains on both plays.
Right, here you see the pitch to Wright, but you don't get a chance to see the big block thrown by Shafton Fraley that springs him around the corner. These guys do an excellent job of blocking for each other, and that's why they have such big runs.
Georgia Southern just 1 of 6 on third down today. Dennis Erickson hoping his defense can hold here on third down and 1. Early moments, third quarter. Dupree on the keep, won't get it. Kevin Patrick from behind, hauling down Joe Dupree.
That was just an excellent play by Kevin Patrick where he had a little blitz on, but instead of coming deep, he came right down the line of scrimmage and was able to stop him before the play got started.
Well, Tim Stowers debating, do I go for it or not? And he will send in his punting team.
Here you see Patrick just doing a good job of trailing the play and turning on the pursuit, so he was able to make the tackle but for no gain.
You agree with Tim Stowers punting away on 4th and 1?
I think that's a good situation because Miami's not going to give them a chance to get a trick play on them, but more so, they're in good position. It's 16 zip. They're a big play offense with the option, and a couple big plays, they could be right back in the ball game. What they don't want to do is give Miami good field position to start the second half.
33-yard punt for Georgia Southern. It'll be 1st and 10 for Miami, and it's all about attitude. Dean Lott had a great attitude, always a smile on his face, always willing to work, and they've tried to structure that attitude at the Georgia Southern program.
The kind of young man that you love to be around as a coach and as a player that, as Coach Stowers said, has a positive attitude, and that had to be the toughest thing he ever had to do doing the eulogy.
Well, from the 11, Frank Costa, after throwing the interception, hands it to Donnell Bennett, who comes across the 15, but not quite to the 16-yard line. Scott Davis, the inside linebacker, putting his shoulder pads right into the midsection of Donnell Bennett with an assist from Brian Sellers.
A little counter action where you pull the tackle. You see Zeb Lemelski going up front and Donnell Bennett keeping his feet moving, running up the back of Rudy Barber. 5-yard gain, and that's all you can ask. That's a positive play.
9.5 minutes left, third quarter, 16 zip Miami. And a 2nd and 6. Costa short of John Jonathan Harris, and Frank was put down just after he threw the football. This has been a very erratic afternoon for Frank Costa.
Well, they're playing a zone defense, and they're coming off the ball with that 4-3 defense where the defensive line is pushing the offensive line back, and with that 3-step drop, he's not getting any depth where he can see his receivers. And I think that's really causing him a lot of problems today.
3rd down and 6. No backs. Costa out of the shotgun. Bennett at the bottom of your picture. 3 wideouts to the top. Through the hands of Dietrich Clausel. Tough pass to handle. And some boos here at the Orange Bowl. Not happy with a stagnant Hurricane offense here in the 3rd period.
Well, the folks came in here today expecting to see a blowout, and we're into the 3rd quarter midway, and they're only up 16-zip, and their quarterback Frank Costa is struggling a little bit in some of his decision making, and he's not throwing the ball well, so the fans are a little unduly.
Look out for number 85, Dexter Dawson. He's a fearless punt returner. This is the first Mike Chrissy punt of the day. And there you see Dawson not calling the fair catch and doing his Houdini impersonation. 36-yard punt, 3-yard return. 9:05 to play in the 3rd quarter. Georgia Southern look. They've been shut down on their first 2 possessions, 3rd quarter. Georgia Southern trails at 16-zip. 9 minutes left, 3rd period. And the Eagles have the football. But a penalty marker down as Joe Dupre is ready to pull the trigger.
Well, Miami's doing what they'd like to do, and that's force Georgia Southern to throw the football.
Good ball. Full start. Offense.
Looking for changes in the Miami defense. We spot one. Pat Riley in at a defensive tackle spot now, replacing Kenny Lopez. And there's Ryan Collins, the number 2 quarterback in the bullpen. Collins has not seen much playing time this season. I don't consider him a backup. He's a starter in waiting, a very capable young man.
He's a young man that Dennis has a lot of confidence in and said that he would not be afraid to insert him at any time.
Looks like we're going to see him next time. First down, 15 for Georgia Southern at their own 43, and Dupree in a heap of trouble. Rohan Marley, the little man. He's like a little bug with a big sting. He'll really hurt you.
Well, he's a little guy that just makes play after play, and you wonder how can a guy this small, and you see him on the blitz again, running by the guard or the tackle, Cushing, coming up with the sack.
Rohan Marley, the son of the legendary musician Bob Marley. Second down, 18 for Georgia Southern now at their own 40. This is the fullback, James Williams, stumbled across to the 46. Carl Richardson made sure that Williams would get no farther. 6-yard pickup.
Miami came into this ball game with a very sound defense to take away the option by assigning the defensive end and the tackle to the fullback and giving the linebacker the opportunity to read and flow to the football, and they've done a good job of executing that defense today.
See what Georgia Southern comes with here on 3rd and 13. Again, James Williams brought down by Carl Richardson. CJ knocked him at the 48. And Williams will be short of the first down. Picked up 8 yards. It'll be 4th down and about 6.
Here you see what happens when you give the ball to the fullback and everybody's expecting the wide play of the pitch. There's a lot of room for the fullback. As you see Lewis running out of there, gets blocked off, and then C.J. Richardson having to come up and make the tackle to keep him from getting the first down.
Richardson, a heavy hitter out of Dallas, Texas. Bill Thatcher on a line drive, fair catch by Jonathan Harris at the Miami 14-yard line. 7 minutes, 8 seconds to play here in the 3rd quarter at the Orange Bowl. Miami leading at 16-0, and Dennis Erickson has made a change at the quarterback spot. Ryan Collins, a talented sophomore from right here in Miami, went to Hialeah, Miami Lakes. He's just 1 for 5 on the year for 14 yards, but he brings another dimension to the Hurricane offense.
Yeah, he has the maneuverability to get himself out of trouble. If you start to put pressure on him in the pocket, he's got 4.5 speed, and he'll come out of there and make something happen on his own.
Looking forward to see what Ryan Collins does with his opportunity here. And he's looking to throw on first down. Finds Jonathan Harris complete at the 35-yard line. Spun out by Alton Hitson. A 20-yard pickup, and Collins shows you his maneuverability and his ability to throw on the run.
Not only the ability to throw on the run, but the ability to square his shoulders up and make a good throw. Here you see him going back. He's sitting, waiting, and all of a sudden, protection break down. He has the speed to get outside the pocket, and as you saw, before he threw the football, he squared his shoulders up. Good execution by Ryan Collins.
First down and 10 for Miami, their own 34. Here comes Larry Jones. Nowhere to go. Fumble the football. Look at this. Alex Mash will go in for the touchdown.
What can you say? Just another big play, and what Georgia Southern prides themselves on, the ability to come up with a big play defensively, and that fumble leads to a touchdown.
Second time Larry Jones has put the football down on a fumble. You talk about costly. Alex Mash, as a freshman, had an interception run back for a touchdown in the 1990 1AA National Championship game for Tim Stowers. And here he picks one off the turf and takes it 28 yards for Georgia Southern's only touchdown today. That's Nick Davis down on his back, the outside linebacker. But what an unfortunate turnaround for Miami. They had momentum. Ryan Collins added a little energy to the offense. Next play, they turn it over, and it turns in the 6 points for the visitors.
Well, that's a play where Larry Jones just tried to do too much. You know, you're in a position, you're surrounded. You know, you either go down or you just turn right up field instead of trying to turn around, reverse your field. And, you know, being a fullback, you've got to run over people. He's running more like a tailback at this point, where he's trying to make too much happen once he gets the football. And this is, as you said earlier, the second fumble, and that leads to Alex Mash's 28-yard run for a touchdown.
Ought to be a very empty feeling for Larry Jones right now, but how about the athletic ability of Mr. Mash?
Well, he showed great balance for a big man. You know, when we talked with Coach Stour yesterday, he talked about Alex's ability not only as a power guy, but a guy with good athleticism, and he showed it there.
Well, Alex Mash, a marvel in the weight room. His coach calls him a freak of nature at the 1AA level. He squatted with 705 pounds on his back. They made him do it 3 times and did it without any trouble at all. Reed Haley on for the point after. He has been perfect in a dozen attempts, and he's now 13 of 13. Ella Hush has come over the Orange Bowl. A Miami turnover turns into a Georgia Southern touchdown. The Hurricanes' lead has been cut to 16-7. Imagine that Dennis Erickson is feeling too good about things.
He's not really happy with the way things are going right now. Offensively, they're not moving the football. They're not able to get it in the end zone. They have to excel at the field goals, and then they give up a touchdown offensively.
Jamie German spinning to the 24-yard line. A freshman from Fort Myers, Florida, drew a crowd. Maurice Reed, number 28, heading off the bottom of the pile. Along with Derek Austin. Well, another opportunity to look at Ryan Collins, number 8, the sophomore quarterback. Nat, it was not a hands-down decision for Dennis Erickson to name Frank Costa. Collins had an excellent preseason.
Collins had an excellent preseason, but Frank Costa had been sitting, waiting, and doing all the right things and deserved a chance to start. But here's Ryan Collins' chance to show that he should be the guy.
Frank Costa did not have a good afternoon today. Here's Bennett on first down, and he is tripped up. Doesn't get back to the line of scrimmage. If you can believe this, Georgia Southern off that tackle by Huey Hunt with momentum here at the Orange Bowl. 6:08 left, third quarter. and they're playing with spirit.
Yeah, here you see them getting penetration, something they hadn't done all day. And as they are bringing Donnell Bennett down, able to trip him up in the backfield, but that's what happened when you come up with a big play defensively. It inspires you, and then everybody feels that they can win this ball game, and that's the danger of leaving a team like Georgia Southern in the ball game.
2nd down and 10. Ryan Collins has James Stewart as his lone setback. This is Clausell. Dietrich Clausell with a first down pickup to the 36-yard line. 12-yard gain. Stop on the play.
Dawson and Williams.
Made by Darius Dawson, the outside linebacker.
36 and a Hurricane.
2nd catch today for Clausell.
Well, Clausell was just the outlet receiver, and Collins went back, looked downfield, saw that they were in a zone and had nowhere to throw the football, knew who his outlet was, came to Clausell, he picked up the first down.
Well, Ryan Collins, he has a great feel for the game. Young man who exudes leadership. On 1st and 10, here's Collins, and passer run, freezes the linebackers, and scampers out after a 12-yard pickup, first down. We talked about the added dimension, evidence.
We talk about his ability to run with the football. He came out with a pass run option, and he really had Chris Jones wide open, but Chris Jones was at a point where, why take the chance? He could run that 10 yards as well as complete the pass. As you see him come out here, they fake the handoff. He comes out wide. Chris Jones is open in the left side of your screen, but he points to him. He said, block, man, I could run it that far. I don't have to take a chance on throwing the ball and intercepting, getting it intercepted. Good selection.
Here's Stewart, squaring up. Boom! Inside the 40, down to the 39-yard line, leaving 2 Georgia Southern tacklers in his wake. Alton Hitson and Rob Stockton, and the wrecking ball, James Stewart, does it again. Huge pickup.
Here's a shot of Frank. He's a little disappointed in his performance today, but he knows that he's just a matter of going back next week, working hard, getting ready for the Florida State game.
14-yard pickup for James Stewart. He comes out. Donnell Bennett now the lone setback on 1st and 10. Bennett off left tackle, and the Hurricanes ripping into that Georgia Southern defense with their run game again. That's an 8-yard gain for Donnell Bennett. We're down under 4.5 minutes left, 3rd quarter.
That's what you call reestablishing the line of scrimmage. The offensive line had started to take charge, and they're pushing the Georgia Southern defense back and giving those backs rooms to cut and run with the football. And here you see Donnell Bennett running through a tackler, picking up 7-8 yards to give them second and short. I'm getting so excited I can't get it out.
Terrell Green, Zev Lemelski doing a nice job on the left side. Here's Stewart coming right, and right into Huey Hunt. But it takes some help to drop Stewart.
This kid, James Stewart, just has unbelievable leg drive. Hunt hit him square up, turned him, but he still was not able to bring him down by his lonesome. He had to get some help from the remainder of the defenders.
Going to be 3rd down and 3. James Stewart hit head-on and still did not go down. Matt Moore, how about your thoughts on Dennis Erickson's choice to pull Costa and come with Collins?
Well, I think this is an opportune time to find out what Ryan Collins can do under the heat before they go into a big ball game next week. You need to know what your second teamer can do, and they always said that they really didn't believe he was the second team player. There you see Bennett just doing a good job of hard, tough running up the middle as Casey Jones, Tyrell Green, and Rudy Barber does a good job of clearing some room for him to pick up the first down.
First down for Bennett. Roderick Christopher, number 98. Paul Carroll, number 43, brought him down, but not before Bennett got the first down.
All right, this is a collision where you see him just running over Paul Carroll. He eventually makes a stop, but not before the first down.
Well, Donnell Bennett, former linebacker, and he plays the running back spot with a linebacker's mentality. Under 3 minutes left, 3rd quarter, 16-7 Miami, and on first down, touchdown! Jonathan Harris from Ryan Collins.
That's the ability of a Ryan Collins. You bring him out of the pocket, you get him out wide away from the pursuit, and he's able to locate Harris running free in the cornered end zone and get the ball to him before the defenders can react. Good execution, good play calling, good job by the receiver getting over, catching the football. Jonathan Harris, his first touchdown of the year, I think.
Yes, sir, and the first touchdown pass in the career of Ryan Collins. Glad you saw it with us. Well, Ryan Collins doing just what you hoped he would. An energizer. Pruitt's point after right through the uprights. Well, just when it looked bleak for Miami, in comes Ryan Collins, and the Hurricanes back in form.
What do you think this will do for the media here in Miami next week? Now that Collins has come in, Costa was pulled, and he leads them down to a touchdown. If he continues to perform like this, I guess we'll have the questions about the two-headed quarterback situation again.
Well, those that watched the preseason carefully knew that there was a chance for a quarterback controversy this year because Ryan touchdown toss. This is Scott Barnwell. Taken by an up back for Georgia Southern. Terry Lester, who gets it across to the 32-yard line. 13-yard kickoff return for Terry Lester, a redshirt freshman from Lithonia, Georgia. Well, two big plays here in the third quarter. The Larry Jones fumble picked up by Alex Mash and run in 28 yards for Georgia Southern's only touchdown. And then what happens to Tim Stowers' club? Well, Dennis Erickson makes a change. Comes with Ryan Collins, and he engineers the 76-yard touchdown drive. 2:44 left, third quarter. This is Joe Dupree, the Georgia Southern quarterback who's gone all the way. Shafton Fraley. That play has worked repeatedly for Georgia Southern. Fraley gains 7 to the 40-yard line.
It works for two reasons. One, Dupree does a good job of reading the defensive end, whether he pulls the ball out or gives it to the fullback, but more so the good blocking by the slot back as well as the split receiver. You don't see anyone in the picture until he's gained 7 or 8 yards.
Second down.
An offsides penalty by Miami declined. Second down, 3 for Georgia Southern. Looking at the Miami defense. Carlos Jones in at the left corner. Malcolm Pearson in at safety along with Earl Little. Paul White still the other cornerback. Dupree going deep as Darren Willis makes the catch at the 15-yard line. Great looking throw and catch. The two high school teammates from Macon, Georgia hook up for a 45-yard gain.
That's the identical play that they hit last week versus Tennessee Chattanooga, where the slot back starts in motion, then comes back, and he's out at flare control. And the safety, Little, did not read it, and Paul White was left out there on the island trying to cover two men. Good throw and catch by Dupree and Willis.
Nice tight spiral. Yeah, this game has been far more entertaining than one would have imagined coming in. Georgia Southern, one of the powerhouses in the 1AA level, and they've acquitted themselves admirably here at the Orange Bowl. 2 1/4 left in the third. Dupree in a heap of trouble. Kevin Patrick and Darren Crine, the bookends, smothering Dupree.
Every time Miami needs a big defensive play, you see the two defensive ends, Crine and Patrick, the leaders of the defense, as they come across. And as you see Dupree coming down the line of scrimmage, Kevin Patrick comes across, stops him, and in comes Darren Crine to finish him off.
Kevin Patrick, one of the most experienced defenders at Miami today, his 22nd start for the Hurricanes. Loss of 4, 2nd and 14 at the Hurricane 20. Here's the end around at Dexter Dawson. It went for a 67-yard touchdown last week. It goes for another loss thanks to number 86, Kevin Patrick.
There you see why he is the leader of the defense. He was getting ready to trail the quarterback, and he saw that reverse coming, and he was able to trip up Dexter Dawson. As we look back at the instant replay, here you see it's a well set up play, but Kevin Patrick is right there to snuff it out.
An example of why coaches and players spend so much time watching film. Had a play that worked for a touchdown last week at Tennessee Chattanooga. Looked very familiar to Kevin Patrick in the Hurricane defense. Georgia Southern 1 out of 8 on third down. And here it's 3rd and 19. Blitz coming. Dupree gets it away. Incomplete. Kevin Patrick and Quan Russell supplying the pressure on Joe Dupree.
Joe Dupree just showed a lot of strength, especially arm strength, to get rid of that football to keep from giving up a 15, 20-yard sack. as we go back and we look at the instant replay, you see him coming out on the rollout, and he gets some pressure, and up comes Russell, and he gets rid of the football. He saves his team 25, 30-yard, an easier field goal attempt.
Reed Haley missed from 53 earlier. This will come from 41. And blocked again. Second time today, the Hurricanes have got a hand on a Reed Haley field goal try. So Miami will take the football back. First down and 10 at the 34-yard line. And the Hurricanes get a roar from the home crowd with 44 seconds left, third quarter. They lead it 23-7. It'll be first and 10 for Miami at the 24.
Let's take another look at this field goal attempt. And as you see, Dexter Siegler comes around the corner, showing that 4.3 speed, and is able to block the kick. Second one today for the Hurricanes.
Second series today for Ryan Collins as Miami's quarterback. Donnell Bennett, the lone setback. Bennett breaks a tackle and is brought down by Darius Dawson at the 28. 4-yard pickup for the junior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Donnell Bennett, James Stewart. They've been a dynamite 1-2 punch running the football all afternoon for Miami. A.C. Tellison, Jonathan Harris come to the bottom of your picture. Chris Jones, flank to the top. This is Stewart. James Stewart shed a tackle or two, got up to the 28-yard line. Actually, the 33-yard line, a pickup of 3 yards. Yeah, that'll do it. End of 3 quarters here at the Orange Bowl in Miami. We've had our share of excitement. We'll turn the page. Joe, thanks, Michael Barrow. Great linebacker at Miami was Michael Barrow. On third down and a yard, Collins keeps it and has a Miami first down. Now, Michael Barrow out of Homestead, Florida, he was sort of the mentor for James Burgess, who is a freshman linebacker at Miami this year. But Michael Barrow, guy that came up through the ranks, a 4-year performer here at Miami.
A great linebacker for the University of Miami, but was able to go right into Houston as a second-round draft choice and become a starter. So that just goes to show you what kind of talent that Michael Barrow possesses.
Well, all 3 Hurricane linebackers from a year ago in the NFL. Barrow, Jesse Armstead, and Darren Smith. And a guy that someday will be in the National Football League, James Stewart, rumbles for about 8 more yards around left end. Brought down by Lee Brooks, a redshirt freshman defensive end wearing number 44. What an afternoon it has been for James Stewart.
Well, he's running with reckless abandon, and he's doing a good job of deciding where he's going to cut and reading the block of the guys out front for him, that he's able to pick up that extra 3-4 yards.
Unofficially, 12 carries, 74 yards for James Stewart. Had 74 yards in 7 carries at Colorado last weekend. Second and 3. This is Derek Harris, former linebacker out of Willow Ridge, Texas, dragging a tackler or 2 for another first down up to the Miami 46-yard line. Well, early on, it was the Dane Pruitt show. 3 field goals. Ryan Collins came on in the third quarter. Took Miami on a scoring drive, and he went 3 for 3, including the 27-yard strike to Jonathan Harris. Only touchdown for Georgia Southern on a fumble recovery by Alex Mash. Ryan Collins out of the shotgun on first and 10. Complete to Bennett. And Bennett picks up another Miami first down in the Georgia Southern territory at the 42-yard line. 13-yard gain.
Ryan Collins is just showing a great presence back there in the pocket, knowing where he wants to go with the football and getting a lot of zip on it. As you see, he goes to Donnell Bennett, who breaks the tackle, gets upfield for an extra 10 yards.
The lights are on here at the Orange Bowl. Ryan Collins is on as well. Just underway, 4th period. Here's Collins. Looking to impromptu, delivers the mail to Jonathan Harris. And Harris gets the first down, picks up 10 yards, and picks up a penalty flag as well. Maybe a face mask as Dominic Turner, number 48, reached out and tried to bring Harris down. And it is a face mask against Georgia Southern. But how about the ability to impromptu by Collins? Froze the linebackers with that little jab step and fired another strike.
The thing that you have to be impressed with Collins is that once he starts to scramble,
5-yard penalty on the defense. First down.
Once he starts to scramble, he doesn't lose presence downfield, and he's able to still pick out his receiver and get the ball to him. Most young quarterbacks, when they start to scramble, they're looking to run with the football, as we see him here. Stop, get the ball to Jonathan Harris, who picks up a big gain as well as a penalty.
Sean Austin, number 18, the man guilty of pulling the face mask of Jonathan Harris, who has had his best day this season. Here comes Derek Harris, another guy that moves the pile down to the 21-yard line. A 5-yard rumble for Derek Harris.
Morris makes the stop for the Eagles.
You know, ironically, we haven't called Alex Mash number a lot today, and in talking with the coaching staff prior to the ball game, they felt the way they could neutralize him was run right at him, and that seemed to be what they're doing because the guards are having a great day today.
Earlier it was Terrell Green working on Mash. Now it's Alan Simonette. Here's Bennett on 2nd down and 5, and Donnell crashes inside the 20, down near the 16-yard line and close to another Hurricane first down.
I think that this running game of the Hurricanes is really starting to wear down the Georgia Southern football team. And as you see, they're moving a little bit slower. And ironically, even though they're interchanging quite a bit, they don't seem to have the stamina to go with this or go against this Hurricane offensive football team.
3rd down and 1 for Miami at the Georgia Southern 17. Stewart brought down in the backfield by Lee Brooks. That'll be short of the first down and a loss of 3 yards. Standout play of a 220-pounder out of Moultrie, Georgia, Lee Brooks.
Lee Brooks did a good job of beating Zeb Lemelski at the snap. He was on a blitz, I think, and was able to get in the backfield and hit James Stewart before he got started.
Well, this ought to be interesting. 4th down, 3 to go, and Dennis Erickson says, go indeed. 11:20 remaining in the football game. Miami ahead 23-7. And Collins in some trouble. Going for the end zone, and Chris Jones, touchdown! Touchdown, Miami!
An unbelievable play. Ryan Collins has just got so much ability to avoid the sack and buy time, and then to be able to throw that football moving to his right all the way back across the field reminds you a lot of John Elway with the strong arm.
An incredible play on 4th down and 4. Ryan Collins on the run through a strike to Chris Jones, 41-yard touchdown. 2 touchdown passes for Ryan Collins, relieving an ineffective Frank Costa today. And you wonder if this is just the start of the Ryan Collins story at Miami. Injured Georgia Southern football player down, and that is Sean Austin, the cornerback, out of the point after touchdown for Miami. And he does. 11 minutes, 8 seconds left in the football game here at the Orange Bowl. It's now the Hurricanes 30 and the Eagles of Georgia Southern 7. Has it teed up at the 35. Marlo Worthen, fastest man wearing the Georgia Southern uniform, back at the goal line. This is Worthen from the 1. Penalty marker down, and Marlo Worthen showing off some of his 4.4 speed, running at 43 yards up to the 44-yard line.
Eric, Georgia Southern has had some good kickoff returns this game, and they just do a good job of running the wedge protection where they start upfield and they break it right or
Holding,
left.
going to return, a 10-yard penalty from the foul.
And that gives them good execution to get outside, and maybe some of the holding also helps, but they do a good job of executing the wedge kickoff return.
Well, for Miami, the story in the first half, the running of James Stewart and Donnell Bennett. They both have 74 yards rushing today. But in the third quarter, It's been Ryan Collins, 6 for 6, couple of touchdown passes, 27 yards to Jonathan Harris, and across the green, 19 yards to Chris Jones. As Frank Costa watches from the Miami bench. 1st and 10, Georgia Southern, their own 14. This is Chris Wright. Has some room. And roped down at the 33.
Right on the carry.
Ron Russell, the outside linebacker, with help from Carlos Jones. But a significant pickup for Chris Wright.
When you've got excellent blockers at the slot back position, this flex bone is really tough to defend because the slot back does a good job of getting the defender, the safety, on the ground. As you see, Shafton Haley come down and he cuts number 27, which is Antonio Coley, and that gives him plenty of room to run for Wright.
Was an 18-yard gain and is 1st and 10 at their 32. Dupree looking deep for Willis, won't have time. Baraka Short brought him down with a sack.
That was an excellent individual effort by Baraka Short where he went back. As Dupree started to throw the football, he jumped up to block it, came down, and as he pulled it back, was able to keep composure and come down with the sack. As you look at it here again, Dupree gets a good drop. Short drives the fullback back into the quarterback and comes down and sacks the quarterback. Excellent individual effort. Here's another shot at it.
Baraka Short running right over the top of James Williams. Loss of 8. 2nd down 18. Here's Wright again. Gets an excellent block on the corner and is finally stopped by Antonio Coley. He picked the 18 yards right back up.
They just do an excellent job of cutting the defenders down. They, you know, a lot of times when a guy stands up, especially a receiver, and he's chicken fighting, as you look at the replay here, they're coming out to the left. Here's the pitch. You see one guy down, 2 guys down, and that gives the running back plenty of room to run. A lot of times, young receivers have a tendency to stand up and chicken fight, and it's hard for the back to decide which way he's going to go. When they're on the ground, there's no decision. Easier to run.
You played wide receiver for a number of years. Blocking, an important part of that position.
Very important part because you want everybody to do the same for you when your number is called.
From the Georgia Southern 43, 1st down and 10. Dupree brought down by Kenny Holmes. Kenny Holmes, who had 22 sacks his senior year at Vero Beach High School, gets his first sack as a Hurricane.
That was, you know, we're talking about young guys that are hungry. They're happy to get into the ball game, and he just goes right over the tackle, Stacy Moses, and comes down with a big sack here. Dupree never saw him coming.
A home run shot for Kenny Holmes. Loss of 6, 2nd and 16. 9.5 minutes left in this game. A 30-7 lead for Miami. This is Chris Wright with James Williams in front of him. Malcolm Pearson jumping on the back of Wright, riding him out of bounds at the 43. Picked up the 6 yards they had just lost. Brings up 3rd down and 10.
That's just a tough play to stop. And, you know, when we were talking with Coach Starr yesterday, and you mentioned it earlier, he said the only thing that Coach Russell told him in the end was keep it simple, stupid. And they just run this play over and over and over again, and they do a fine job of executing, and pretty soon they pop the big one. The only thing that I think that have been able to keep them from doing it today is Miami has just as much speed.
Georgia Southern has only had football back for 12 years, but there's a lot of flavor and tradition to their program. We'll tell you more about it before this game is in the books. 3rd down and 10. And Kenny Holmes smothers Dupree again. Well, this a bit of a coming out party for Kenny Holmes, the redshirt freshman, one of the 7 players ejected from last week's game.
Well, last week we talked about last week where they were running the ball very well, running into the boundary, and here you see Kenny Holmes. They're starting to figure out how Georgia Southern wants to run this ball, and they're just getting upfield and not giving the quarterback a chance to get outside the pocket.
And the punter, Bill Thatcher, in trouble. Great job to get it away. I mean, that's a great job by Bill Thatcher. Rolls out of bounds at the 8-yard line. So Thatcher averts disaster and unloads a 51-yard punt. 8:29 left here at the Orange Bowl. The Canes by 23. 2:29 left in the football game. And let's watch Ryan Collins run the offense again. Here's James Stewart. And he gets to the 14-yard line, pickup of 6. Down to the Orange Bowl field with Joe Rose.
Thank you very much, Eric. And first of all, Dennis Erickson's done what he wanted to. He's accomplished in the fourth quarter, allowing everybody to get in the ball game and play. The bad news is now, does this stir up controversy between Ryan Collins and Frank Costa for next week or games to come? That remains to be seen. Back up to you guys.
Well, just the start, thanks, Joe, of a very interesting quarterback situation. Paul Carroll, a real warrior for this Georgia Southern team with help. Goes off, but this is the start of what's going to be a firestorm of publicity as we look at how Carroll went down.
He gets his leg caught up underneath as he brings James Stewart down, and hopefully he's going to be okay. He's just hobbling off, and he's walking on his own now, so hopefully that's a good sign.
2nd down and 5 for Miami. They have it at their own 13. Ryan Collins in relief of Frank Costa, 6 for 6, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, and tons of excitement. Here's Stewart again. Stewart a yard short of the first down up at the 17-yard line. Brought down by Huey Hunt and Dominic Turner. You know, last week against Colorado, the bench clearing brawl, 7 Hurricanes ejected. Dennis Erickson said, we're going to take it in-house. He came up with these guidelines for the Hurricane program when it comes to fighting. These very same guidelines, Nat Moore, might well be taken on by the NCAA.
Well, something have to be done. You know, you've got to be able to control your football team, and there's got to be some type of suspension that will keep the players from running out, getting involved in these types of events or affairs that, you know, really make your team look bad. You're talking about a University of Miami football team that on the field they're one of the greatest there is, but some of the antics is what has hurt their national prominence across the country.
And last week, a bad one around college football. Wasn't just a Miami-Colorado brawl. There were at least 2 others around the country. On 3rd the yard, James Stewart cutting back, picks up the first down, picks up some new friends, including number 37, Huey Hunt, who has become well acquainted with the 8-wheel truck named James Stewart.
I think quite a few of these Georgia Southern defenders will have nightmares tonight about James Stewart. They're trying to figure out what they have to do to get him down. He does a good job of following his blockers. Then he sees there's nothing there. He cuts back, and watch him just run through Hunt and just drags him for another 2-3 yards. Good leg strength.
This is the best day that James Stewart has ever had. Ryan Collins sacked for the first time today. Back at the 20, that's a 3-yard loss. Number 91, Michael Morris, I believe the first to get there.
3-yard loss, 2nd and...
By the way, James Stewart's numbers, unofficially, 17 carries, 93 yards.
Here you see, as Collins goes back to pass, there's a free blitzer coming, and he does a good job of stepping up, and they hemmed him in, but he showed presence of mind of not just throwing the football. He took the sack.
Hurricanes have substituted on that offensive line. Omar Andrews and Jason Boudroni on the left side. Casey Jones still at center. Ryan Collins checking off line of scrimmage on 2nd and 13. Looking deep. Wimberly out there, can't make the catch. Covered well by Brandon Roselle.
That was a well-thrown football, but good coverage by Roselle. And, you know, you keep talking about this kid Collins, and he's showing you that he has all of the attributes to be a good quarterback here at the UM. And, you know, he's been patient for the last 3 ball games, sat on the bench, and now it's his time, and he's showing the quarterback that he has all of the ability to one day lead this Hurricane football team.
Only question is, what day will that be?
Only Dennis knows that.
Ryan Collins being chased on 3rd and 13. On the run, fires incomplete. Gerard Daphnis reached back, tried to pull it in. After hitting his first 6, Ryan Collins has missed on his last 2. 5:52 remaining, 4th quarter. Game not in doubt. It's 30-7 Miami.
This is a real screwy play here. I think most of the guys on the offensive line missed the snap count. But then once again, Ryan Collins shows you his ability to avoid bad plays and get his team out of a bad situation.
Ryan Collins' ability to throw the football, turn the corner with it, reminds you a little bit of the guy Miami will see next weekend. That's Dexter Dawson, still on his feet, and finally tripped up at the 40-yard line. And penalty markers littering the Orange Bowl field. 36-yard punt, 14-yard return, and we'll have to sort it out for you. Of course, the player I thought that Ryan Collins reminds you of a little bit is Charlie Ward, the quarterback at Florida State.
Well, Charlie Ward is leading the Heisman race at this point, and you know, he's a guy that Miami will have to contend with next week. But you know, they've got a guy that has those kind of abilities.
Illegal block in the back above the waist during the return. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
We have a timeout here at the Orange Bowl. Night falling, and so is another Hurricane opponent.
Make a decision on who's going to be the starting quarterback because of this guy's ability.
And penalty flags will stop this play.
Full start. Offense.
Yeah, this is a Georgia Southern program that started from scratch 12 years ago. They had a layoff of 40 years of football, and then Erk Russell left Georgia as the defensive coordinator. He was there for 17 years. He came to Statesboro to start a program from scratch in 1981. They were a club team for the first 3 years. Then they went 1AA in 1984, and they won the first of 4 national championships just 1 year later. And the amazing thing, at Erk Russell's press conference, they had to go to a Kmart in downtown Statesboro to buy a football. They didn't even own one. The original football office was located in a trailer park. First down and 15 for Georgia Southern. This is Shafton Fraley. And he is brought down by Earl Little, and Marcus Carey gets up to the 38-yard line, pickup of 5. Back downstairs to Joe.
Thank you guys very much. I'm with a guy that's been a big part of this Miami defense for a long time right now, Rusty Medeiros. Rusty, I want to ask you, first of all, I let everybody know you've taken the year off, decided on your own not to play because of the knee. What are you going to do? What's the plans for the future for now?
Well, I'm going to continue to work and progress with my knee. One thing about an injury like this is one thing you can't control is time, and time's been a big help for me because I tried to push it and get back on the field really quick, and I just wasn't ready, and I made that decision this fall. So I'm still continuing to get back and play this year and hopefully, or next year, and hopefully get back into the swing.
Rusty, I really enjoyed talking to you before about how important the academic side of this whole thing is now, and maybe you can help a lot of others out there trying to make this decision of a future in the academics for something else besides football.
Well, I've got to control what I have right now, and my education is very important to me, and you know, it always has been. And when football became secondary to that, I really wanted to put full effort into it, just like I would run around the corner trying to catch a quarterback. So I'm doing that right now. I'm creating some options for me in case football doesn't work out, and that's my plan, and I'm going at it full force.
All right, Rusty, good luck to you, and hope we see you out here maybe next year.
Thanks a lot.
All right, back up to you guys.
Thanks very much, Joe. Rusty Medeiros, outstanding football player here at Miami. Devastating knee injury a year ago. Third down 10, 4:46 left in the ball game. Bostic trying to sprint away from trouble. First down, sliding into the Miami 45-yard line.
Bostic doesn't carry into
17-yard gain for Charles Bostic.
Bostic is a kid that has a lot of speed, and I'm almost of the notion that was really a draw from the inception, because he went back, set up, and then he came right out of the pocket. There was no indecision on his part, as if he never really was intending to throw the ball downfield, but a big run by the junior quarterback, Bostic.
And Bostic, another of the talented group of players from a little town in Georgia named Thomasville. Tim Stowers, the head coach at Georgia Southern, his eyes lit up like 100-watt bulbs when he mentioned Thomasville, Georgia. He's got a whole group of guys from Thomasville. We'll be right back. Saturday in Tallahassee. Charles Bostic on 1st and 10 gets brought down by Kenny Holmes. Twan Russell jumped on just for help. Pickup of 1 to the 45-yard line. 4 minutes left. Well, again, talking about The talent out of Thomasville, Georgia. Small town, 2 high schools, and incredible football talent comes out of Thomasville year after year.
Well, as you look at the graphics here, you see that there are quite a few guys that have come out of there, as well as Charlie Ward of Florida State. And in talking with Coach Stour, he said something in the water. And anytime you start to recruit Thomasville football players, and that's Thomasville, Georgia, you're going to find some good ones. That's similar to Dade County, matter of fact.
Carlos Jones on the
That was Terry Lester that ran around right end till Carlos Jones tripped him up.
A
Pick up of 5 to the 41 brings up a 3rd and 5.
Here we see that flex bone, the option once again, and each and every time they're able to get that running back on the corner with the first guy, the first defender, down on the ground. And they just do a good job of executing it, but Miami just have too much speed running lateral.
Under 3 minutes to play. Miami leads it by 23. 3rd down and 5, and nowhere to go for Charles Bostic except down. Kenny Holmes, Antonio Coley, Baraka Short, and Twan Russell.
Bostic can tackle the backfield.
Miami had a blitz on that time, and they had folks in every gap. And as we go back and we look at the highlights or the instant replay, you see that Holmes is there before he can even start to get outside. And you're talking about Miami trying to make sure that no one scores on the defense. The one touchdown that was given up, it was given up by the offense, so the defense is still looking to shut them out.
Well, Georgia Southern calls timeout. 2:27 left in the game. You mentioned something in the water in Thomasville, Georgia. We don't know about that, but we know there is something in the water in Statesboro, Georgia. Tim Stowers, the head coach, told us the story yesterday about beautiful Eagle Creek. It's nothing more than an old drainage ditch behind the practice field. We'll tell you a little bit about it when we get back to the Orange Bowl right after this timeout on Sunshine Network. With Nat Board, Joe Rose, I'm Eric Reed here at the Orange Bowl, where the Canes are trying to put the finishing touches on their 4th win in 4 starts. Georgia Southern going to drop to 3 and 2, and Charles Bostic is dropped by Twan Russell on 4th down and 7. So the Hurricane defense wrapping up a strong effort. Only touchdown for Georgia Southern today came on a fumble recovery and a 28-yard run off of that recovery by Alex Marsh. Dave Olmstead, our executive producer here for Sunshine Network. Today's game produced by Jeff DeMoss. John Liu, our director. Charlie Stenberg, our technical director. Great job in the truck by our entire Sunshine Network crew. Well, Eric Russell, who began the program at Georgia Southern, one of his pet sayings was this: if you don't have the best of everything, make the best of everything you have. Which brings us back to beautiful Eagle Creek. It is nothing more than an old drainage ditch behind the practice field at Georgia Southern. But Eric Russell, the founding father of Georgia Southern football, called it beautiful Eagle Creek. Now, the water in that creek, complete with the floating empty beer cans, is considered, at least in Statesboro, to have magical, mystical qualities. Now, the water from Eagle Creek is bottled and taken on the road for all their big games. They brought some of that Eagle Creek water with them today. They sprinkled it on the turf of the Orange Bowl at practice Friday afternoon. Did not appear to get the job done for it.
Someone forgot to tell the University of Miami that it was supposed to work. You're talking about a good football team, though. When you talk about Georgia Southern, they've got a fine young football team for a 1AA, and they have nothing to be ashamed of today, because they came in and they played a University of Miami football team as tough as anybody else this year.
Penalty markers fly again.
Dead ball. Full start. Offense.
By the way, if you're wondering how they transport that Eagle Creek water, it must be done in a empty milk cart.
I just want to know what happens if one of the players is not aware and thinks that's milk.
Not a pretty picture you've just
Can't
had.
be a pretty picture.
Some of the flavor of Georgia Southern football. Collins gives it off to James Stewart, and Stewart should be over the 100-yard mark now. This has been a banner day for the sophomore fullback, James Stewart.
sophomore James Stewart has ran hard all day, and he deserves to be one of the top players. I wouldn't be surprised to see him as the Big East Player of the Week, as tough as he's ran. But he might be overshadowed by Ryan Collins and what he was able to get accomplished today, coming in and leading Miami to 2 touchdowns.
Well, Miami was leading at 16-7. Their offense was ineffective. Frank Costa was having a poor day, and that's when Dennis Erickson tabbed Ryan Collins to go into the game, and he turned this particular game around when he went 6 for his first 6, including a couple of touchdown throws. What does this do to this football team now? Does Dennis Erickson have a decision to make on his starting quarterback for next Saturday?
I think Dennis has a decision to make, but it's the kind of decision that you enjoy, because you've got 2 quality quarterbacks. You know, Frank Costa is coming off a great game last week in Colorado, had his problems today. Ryan Collins comes in and plays well, but it's a decision where you know that if one guy goes down, you've got a quality backup. So either way, it's a plus for him.
On 3rd and 3, Stewart brought down nicely by number 37, Huey Hunt. I think will be close to a first down.
I believe Huey Hunt finally got the message that you do not tackle James Stewart high, as he got down around his legs and grabbed him by the feet and brought him down instead of trying to muscle up with him.
4th down, less than a yard. Here are the numbers unofficially on James Stewart. 19 carries, 104 yards. Seconds to play. Derek Harris, no problems picking up the first down. Dominic Turner, number 48. Huey Hunt, number 37. On the stop of Harris, that could be our final play. So Georgia Southern will fall to 3-2. Miami goes to 4-0. Their 31st consecutive regular season win. Their 53rd in a row here at the Orange Bowl. James Stewart, 19 carries, 104 yards. He'll share the postgame spotlight with Ryan Collins as the Hurricanes ring up another W here at the Orange Bowl.
Today, University of Miami Hurricanes 30, Georgia Southern Eagles 7.
So Miami wins it by 23. And just as you would have hoped if you were a Hurricane fan, Florida State and Miami, a pair of unbeatens, now just a week away.
Well, Dennis has got to be pretty happy, except for the disappointment in Frank's Costa's play today. He was able to play a lot of guys. He was able to come out and keep everybody relatively healthy. No one got hurt, and get ready for next week. You talk about coming off a big victory at Colorado, Florida State in a week, and it could be tough, but you have to give Dennis a lot of credit of getting his team up, getting them ready to play against Georgia Southern, and not overlooking this football team.
How impressed were you? We both were well acquainted with Ryan Collins' skills and abilities. He comes off the bench ice cold and goes red hot, hits his first 6, 2 for touchdowns, and turned this game Miami's way.
Well, I was highly impressed with the kid because the first 3 ball games, if he got to play at all, it was mop up. And here was an opportunity where the team needed him. He came in, he got the job done, and was almost flawless in his execution and his ability to make things happen and help his ball club win. So you have to be impressed.
Well, Joe Rose is downstairs. He's got Dennis Erickson with him.
All right, guys, thank you very much. We do have Coach Dennis Erickson with us. Coach, this is one of those games, I'm sure. The good news is you get a chance to let everybody play. The bad news, maybe not the style of play you wanted to see today.
Well, we didn't play very well. We played good on defense and struggled around a little